nothing to fight for.
Chasing your dreams, now you can't redeem yourself. Disregarding your name, your smell is all that remains. They say you're an SLUT, but that doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me. We're all looking to be alone, and somehow, someday, we'll find what we're looking for. Till then, you'll still be a boy. to be alone. And somehow, someday, we'll find what we're looking for. Until then, we will all be yours. We will all be yours. Or we'll all be yours. Me who I have become. this notion Let's keep these wheels in motion. In motion.
Good evening, race fans. I'm Pirate here, Black Flag Racing TV, and a good start with the wrong bloody intro video in place, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So we're live. This is the final round of the Black Flag Staying Power Endurance Championship Series, and for the final 3 races of the series, they are back to back with an incredibly different look. So no more do we have our 2-hour races with qualifying and all that kind of thing. We've got a different setup, 3 tracks back to back: Trial Mountain, Daytona and Le Mans. GR3 or the GT3 for Trial Mountain, GT2 cars for Daytona, and the GR1 cars for Le Mans. It is straight qualifying in this first race. 3 45-minute races back to back, of course. Qualifying with a straight qualifying grid. There are a couple of people with some penalties to serve that will have a bit of movement on the grid. That'll be followed by a reverse grid race at Daytona Road, and then we follow that up with a reverse championship race for double points at Le Mans, and they are racing back to back, no massive breaks in between, just straight full on back to back, balls out racing, as you would expect from us here at Black Flag. I suppose you're wondering what the standings look like. Shall we have a little look? I think I've got it set up. That's how the top 10 look. I haven't put the whole table up because we're interested in who's going to win this. Kevin leads the way with 20 points clear of Wendigo, but with 25 points available for a win, it is anybody's game. And interestingly, despite the fact that he was expected to turn up, Kevin has not turned up to this race to claim his championship. He could very well find himself dropping outside the top 3. As it stands, he leads the way 20 points clear, but he's not going to score any points today. Wendigo 174. I say Kevin doesn't turn up. He could turn up later, but he's obviously going to sacrifice himself some points if he doesn't turn up at some stage. Wendigo is second. He does have a 4-place grid penalty for an infringement at Monza last time out. So wherever he qualifies, he's going to drop back 4 positions. TJ in third. GMAC in 4th. I don't think GMAC is racing. I think GMAC is working. That's going to give Aaron a point behind, a chance to move up the order. Arminis has pulled out for a little while. He's had some equipment issues and he's pulled out of this tournament. Demos also not arrived as yet. Wiggy, he's here. He is in the BMW and he is currently sitting on 72 points, but could very well break his way into that top 5 without too much of stress. Anyway, without further ado, let's move on to qualifying, shall we? We may as well, because that's what's next. I've got to turn that off. There we go. So, qualifying time it is. Just wanted to mention we are supporting the Proper Blokes Club. You can see the logo down there in the bottom left-hand corner. That was set up by a friend of mine, Scott. He set up during lockdown, and it was a way for blokes to get together and have a little wander around. And it was a kind of lockdown thing when you could when you were first allowed to to sort of get together in small groups. Small groups will get together and have a little walk around the local area. It's set up in one local area. It's now all over London, many different boroughs. He's just been recognised, just been given an award by his local council, but he's also up for, he was on BBC News, and basically he's being lauded for it, and we're going to support them. It's a Proper Blokes Club, and it's about advocating for men's mental health, particularly encouraging men to open up and find someone to talk to. If you want the information, all the details are down there in the description. Have a look at their website, check them out. You can also check them out on Facebook as well. Anyway, moving swiftly on. It's qualifying time, and Stormfly leads the way at the moment, but of course this is just an outlap, so we'll see now what sort of times people are going to put in. Trial Mountain, tricky one to start with. Kevin has joined the room, but he's missed qualifying. He's 5 minutes late for qualifying, so he will be at the back of the grid. Don't know if Dean Moss is going to arrive. So Kevin has arrived. He has come to try and claim his championship. Hopefully, we've got a bit of a race on. So there is Stormfly in the Porsche 911. He's going to be looking to put in a nice solid time. Bear in mind that he's there or thereabouts for this championship. There is Slipstream. He's also gone for that Porsche 911. I think it's going to be a bit of a Porsche fest here at in the GT3 class. The Porsche being, I think, probably the best car on balance in this class. TJ, he's gone actually for the McLaren. Interesting choice actually, but not a shabby car by any stretch of the imagination. Although with that penalty, he's not going to put in any sort of decent qualifying time. There's Wiggy in the BMW. He's been doing a lot of work with that BMW lately, a lot of endurance stuff, and GR3 and GR4 as well. So yeah, lots of experience in that BMW. There's Jay. He's also gone for the 911 here at Trial Mountain, and he's sporting the. I think that's the livery we used for the Porsche Cup, WSR Porsche Cup, which we pulled out of. Wendigo, there he is. He's just 20 points off the championship. He's got a 4-place grid penalty. He's going to have to serve for this first race, so he will be looking to put himself on or near pole to try and negate that. And as it stands, Slipstream is your pole sitter. He's not going to improve on that with that 1 second penalty. That's a 150.0 for him. Just 6 hundredths behind his Stormfly with 150.1. Wendigo 50.9 puts himself on the second row. He's got Wiggy in the BMW for company. Colum jumping in lastminute.com from our friends over at Amigos. He is 1.2 seconds behind. He's in that Ford Mustang sporting the famous yellow and blue of the ART Amigos racing team. Colours from Canada, of course. 1.1 second behind is TJ. He comes in 7th thus far as Monkey Man Macho. And I've got a little thingy for him. Where is it? Oh, I've lost it. I haven't got it on this one. Monkey Man Macho, he's put himself in a wall there. You can't park that there, son. Can't park that there, mate. No, you're right. You can't park that there, mate. He is currently on row 3, just 2 hundredths behind Willie. Jay coming in 8th, 1.7 behind TJ. Rocket Rob, he's also gone for that McLaren. He's in 9th position, and Kevin obviously in the room, but not going to be able to qualify as he arrived a couple of minutes late for the qualification session. So he will start from the back of the grid. So new times coming in. Slipstream not able to improve on his 50.0, but still sitting on pole. Although now Stormfly just 4 thousandths of a second difference separate him and Slipstream, but they're both still currently on the front row in that 911. There is Wendigo. Wendigo currently in 3rd with his 4-place grid penalty. That'll drop him down behind TJ in 7th position, but currently 8/10 back. Also gone for that 911. He's very quick in that car, to be fair, and I fully expect to see him in and amongst it after the 45 minutes of this race. Because of the nature of having to reset the lobby for set by host because of the penalties, etc. This lobby will be reset after the qualifying for a specific race lobby. We'll have another look at the table at that stage as well, I think. There is Wiggy in that BMW, currently sitting on that second row. We're nearly there. We're not far off. It's only 10 minutes of qualifying here, so they've got to get wriggle and get those laps in and make sure they get them done nice and early. You want to make sure you get your best lap on the board as quickly as possible. Then you can push, give it those extra beans to have a go. 3 really vastly contrasting tracks for this for the combination of this tournament. And it's been a really interesting series because every race up to this point has been a 2-hour full-on endurance race with some really tricky tracks along the way. We started way back in February at Suzuka. Great race there at Suzuka. That race was won by Kevin 77. He set out the stall from race number 1, Wendigo coming in just behind him. I mean, those two have been vying for the championship all season. That was followed by the Spa 24-hour circuit, again won by Kevin. This time it was Wiggy who took the second position. That was followed by St. Croix in France. That was won again by Kevin. So at that stage he was really pulling away with TJ coming in second. Bathurst followed. Great track Bathurst as we see Wiggy putting his car upside down. Wendigo on pole. That's a great start from him. Talking of Wendigo, he got his first win at Mount Panorama. 25 points for him. That was his first win in this series in race number 4. Kevin coming in second place just behind him. That was a really, really good race, actually, action-packed. All of the races, actually, you can find them all here, pretty much on Black Flag Racing TV. I think we're only missing a couple. Then we went to Japan for Kyoto, and order restored with Kevin again taking a win. Wendigo coming again in second place. Stayed in Japan for Fuji, again won by Kevin. He's been very consistent this season, so it's in his hands, to be fair. He's 20 points clear. It's in his hands today, although it doesn't start well when you arrive late and miss qualifying. GMAC came second that time, TJ in third. I mean, TJ's been there or thereabouts all season. Then we went back over to France for the Alsace Village. Wendigo took a win there. Kevin didn't race that day, and it was a quite small lobby that day. And actually, Wendigo took a nice solid win there from GMAC. After Alsace, we went to Watkins Glen. That was the 22nd of April. Watkins Glen again won by Kevin. Demos coming in second position. Demos not racing today, despite being... he was checked in, so I'm wondering if he's going to turn up at some stage. Stormfly puts himself on pole, relegating Wendigo down to second, so the pace really ramping up. Have we got a 149 in this qualifying? That's the big question. Last week, of course, was Monza. Great race at Monza, which saw a couple of penalties being handed out. 4-place grid penalty for Wendigo. The instructions were not to overtake before the first 2 chicanes, just to avoid any red flag incidents. He made 4 places. Those 4 places have been added to his qualifying time for this race. The win was taken by VR46, who's currently on pole in that Porsche 911. And he's got some work to do to get into the top 3, but he's not done and dusted. He's not completely out of the running for a top 3 spot in this championship. So, final lap of qualifying, and where we at? There is your pole sitter currently with a 150.014. That's Stormfly VR46 ahead of Wendigo, joining him on that front row. Porsche 911 is looking very, very strong here in this first race at Trial Mountain. 22 thousandths of a second back to Slipstream, who heads up row 2. He's got Wiggy for company in that BMW. He's tucked right in behind Jay, getting loads of Slipstream. Is he going to get held up though through the last sector here? He actually makes the move around him. I'm going to say that overtaking during qualifying is frowned upon, but if you're not hampering the car you overtake, I can't see that it's that big an issue. It's when you're kind of forcing your way through and forcing them offline that it's a problem. Monkey Man Macho, he's less laggy today than he has been previously, but he's currently 5th. TJ in 6th. Can he improve on his time? 151.1 is his best thus far. Crosses the line. That's a 150.9. That gives him an extra spot up the order. Slipstream puts himself on the front row, relegates Wendigo back down to row number 2. Well, actually, relegates him down to row 4 because of his grid penalty, which is a big shame. Sorry, row Yeah, row 4. Would be row 4. He's currently on row 2. So there we have it. That is qualifying done and dusted. So the lobby's going to be reset, ready for the race. The grid will be set by the host. Another quick look at the standings. There we go. So that's where we stand. Of those on that leaderboard, so Midas has made it and Demos has made it. They all made it late. Demos already has a penalty that puts him for the back of the grid, so qualifying for him wasn't really a done deal. Anyway, he wasn't going to get to do qualifying. He could have done qualifying, but he would have started from the back of the grid anyway after his DQ from Monza. But Kevin's made it. Kevin's here to try and challenge for his championship. I do want to... Let's just bring this up very quickly. There we go. So that's how qualifying looks. Stormfly from Slipstream. Wendigo from Star Group. Monkey Man Macho from TJ. Cullum from J. And then Rocket Rob in 9th. And then behind them will be Kevin and Midas and Demos at the back of the grid. I'm well aware I've got the circuit data stuff up there. I'm not changing it for the 3 different race tracks. It's far too much work. Let's bring those back up. There we go. So Kevin, 20 points clear. Essentially, if he wins every race, he's won this championship. The kicker comes in is that he can win. If he wins the next 2 and Wendigo comes second, Wendigo can still steal the championship in the last race because it's double points. There are 50 points available in the last race. So today there are a total point haul today available of 100 points. So actually anyone in that top 3 can still win the championship. Let's assume, look, Kevin just needs to finish in order to get any points at all. Worst case scenario that he gets disconnected or something happens. He still can't be caught because even if VR46 Aaron gets the full 100 point haul, he's only going to be he's going to be 1 point behind him. So he can't improve on that 194. So it is just the top 3 battling it out for first place. But beyond that, any one of those 3 can be first, but there's still a few that can nick sort of second and third. Certainly second and third are still up for grabs. We are going to update the table in real time through SLP. I'll see if I can get it up on here. Probably not be able to get up on the stream. I'll talk you through it though, and we'll see where we're looking race to race. So we'll know on a real time basis what the situation is in terms of the race. Just waiting for the lobby to be set by host. Wendigo, Stormfly, Slipstream, Demos, Wiggy, TJ, Kevin, Midas, Cullum, Monkey Man, Macho, Jay, Rocket Rob, all vying for this race. And I think that's a lot. And there's me. Obviously, I'm not racing, so no point showing me. Hey Phil, how the bloody hell are you? Why are you not racing, my friend? 3 races back to back is going to be awesome. Lot of 911s. That was a lot. There's 4 911s out there. Wendigo, Stormfly, Slipstream, they ironically were the top 3 qualifying, which just goes to show 1 how talented these guys are, but 2 how strong the 911 is, particularly in the hands of these really quick drivers. We've got Demos. He's gone for the RS01. We've got Wiggy in that M6 GT3. TJ and Rob, they've both gone for the McLaren 650S GT3, which actually is a favoured car quite often of Wendigo, that and the Lamborghini. Jay also in that 911 RSR. Monkey Man Macho's gone for a very Jamaican looking NSX Group 3. Listen, he's no slouch, Monkey Man Macho. He's always one that you could watch out for, or should watch out for. Cullum, Marcus joins us from ART for this final 3 races in that Mustang GR3. If you're quick, mate, if you're really, really quick, Phil, jump in now. I don't know if anyone's listening from the lobby. Phil's coming, man. Phil's coming. You will have to start from the back, mate, but yeah, just get involved, mate. It's GR3, GR2, GR1. Trial mount in Daytona, Le Mans. And to be fair, with the way the championship's looking, you could potentially get into the top 10 because it's double points for the last race. Midas has gone for the AMG GT3, which is a phenomenal car. Really, really, and the more I drive it, the more I like it. When I first drove it, I found it a bit of a tank, but it's better. And I thought someone had jumped in, but they hadn't. He's just setting the grid now. Let me drop a message in. Phil. So they know. Right, just warning the groups that he's coming, just in case they weren't listening, so don't start the race without him. Hurry up, Phil, because I think they're waiting for you, because we've got to get cracking, mate. We've got 3 races to get back to back to back to back to back. We'll do an on board with one of them through each of the tracks. I mean, Le Mans we've done quite a lot recently. Everyone should be pretty much familiar with Le Mans. I mean, if you're not familiar with Le Mans, I'd be very surprised. It's one of my favourite racetracks, Le Mans. I really do like it. I'm actually disappointed we haven't got Bathurst as a final race. It was earlier in the season, but yeah, who would have thunk that I would be quite good at Bathurst. What's coming up now this is done? Well, we've got GTFusion coming up in a couple of weeks. Once that's done, we have got Ultimate Endurance. It is teams of 2 individual cars. So once you've got your car that's not available to anybody else, teams of 2, and they will be racing on 6 different racetracks, back to back. So it's 2 hours a stint, back to back racing across 6 iconic endurance racetracks. More information can be found on our Discord or on SLP. I will stick it up on the socials as well for you to see. But that's coming up in a few weeks' time. And we've already got 4 or 5 teams already entered. Space for a few more. It will be going out. It's only internal at the moment, but it will be going out to the wider community from Monday. So I expect to see quite a few quick teams jumping in for that. And then it's our 1-year Black Flag anniversary. And the return of Black Flag bullshit, the revival, in a slightly different format than last time. We've taken some of the most iconic GT racing cars over the last 50 years. Not just those, but iconic cars in general. And just the road going versions, and they're slightly tuned. We're not talking about massive tuning, we're talking about a little bit of tuning on some fantastic racetracks across a 10-week series with cash prizes for the top 3. Plus there'll also be weekly challenges to win some stuff. What we'll see. So Phil's in. We should be going very, very soon. Essentially what we're going to do in between each race, we're going to have up we'll put up a little screen that looks a little bit like this, and everyone will go for a wee and all that, and then we'll come back and we'll go cracking again. So everyone is in, everyone is ready, the grid is set. This is how the grid looks. Stormfly leads everyone out from Slipstream. They're on the front row. Wiggy and Monkey Man Macho on row number 2. Row 3, TJ and Colum, Wendigo and Jay, Rocket Rob and Kevin, Midas, Demos, and then Phil at the very, very back. The race is about to begin. So without further ado, let's get cracking with some racing. Careful into turn 1, it can be a little bit tricky. But I expect to see the Porsches get away quite well. Be interested to see what Kevin does. So that's 3 lights, that's 4 lights, that's 5. One more light goes out, and away we will go. And off they go. And that's look with Colum. Who I don't know who that was round the outside, but that was Kevin with an absolutely phenomenal start from the outset. He's already up into 6th. That was an insane start from him. Into 4th. Wiggy spins. Was there a coming together there between Kevin and Wiggy? Going to have a little look back, because he had a great start, did Kevin. We're having a little on board here. He gets past Colum up into, well, almost up into 5th. And then there, clips Wiggy. He keeps his car under control, but Wiggy didn't go too well for him. So I think that's going to have to be looked at by the stewards, because very, very hot in there, and that has completely thrown Wiggy right back to last place with some damage as well. So yeah, that's something definitely has to be looked at. Whether I don't know whether you can call that a racing incident. Did he come in too hot? Did he catch him? I think it needs to be looked at from a few angles before any decision can really be made. Monkey Man Macho, an absolutely phenomenal start from him. He's already got himself up into the lead. Stormfly in the 911, Slipstream in the 911, all up the inside. Already, we've got some great racing going on. Monkey Man Macho has to drop back into third. Kevin's up there in fourth. And you can see what a phenomenal start from these guys. Monkey Man Macho, you can see him here heading down towards this big switchback, and he goes really wide, and through goes Stormfly, through goes Slipstream, and just behind him there's Kevin vying for his own snatch at that top three. Phenomenal start to this race, absolutely phenomenal. And ignore that, he doesn't need to refuel. Absolutely does not. So Stormfly back into the lead of this race in that Porsche 911. He's got Slipstream right in behind him. He's got Monkey Man Macho stays there in third. Kevin in fourth. Then we've got a bit of a gap going back. 1.3 seconds already to Midas, who's got himself a little bit of space, a little bit of air. There's Demos and TJ side by side. No love lost between these two. Can they keep it clean? There is Demos on the outside of TJ. Little coming together, nothing doing there. Demos loses control a little bit. They were a little bit feisty there. So Colum now round the outside of Demos. Can he make the move? No, he can't. He's got a half-second penalty as well. That's going to cost him a little bit of time here. But so Demos dropped in behind Colum. Sorry, and there's Phil. He's already up to 9th place. That's a great start from Phil. Jumping in lastminute.com, not a stitch of practice, straight in the car, and already giving a good account of himself as Demos makes the move ahead of Colum up into 7th place. Colum and Phil both carrying a half-second penalty, and we'll see here, we'll watch them drop off as they go through that penalty line. We're going to be approaching it very, very soon. We'll see it here. He would come up to the penalty line, which is around here somewhere. Oh, it's not. Wrong track. It's round the other side of the racetrack. It's right by the start-finish line. When Digo down in 10th place, he's got some work to do to move his way forward in that 911. Or, I mean, I suppose it's infinitely possible that he is playing a long game. He's looking to conserve fuel, conserve tyres, try and take it a little bit longer into the race, and maybe make it up later on. Two combines have got to be used. They've got to use softs, they've got to use mediums over the course of this race. Whenever they choose to use them, whether they use them for 1 lap or 10, it's entirely down to them. Rocket Rob is up into 11th. Jay down in 12th in the 911. Not having a great time thus far. And Wiggy, after that contact early doors with Kevin, is down in 13th place. As I said, that'll be looked at by the stewards after the race. To me, I mean, it didn't look like a deliberate act, but you know, you've got to bear in mind he did make a big charge forward. So was it over exuberance? Was it avoidable? It needs to, once it's been looked at from a couple of angles, then obviously a proper judgment can be made, and that will be down to the stewards to do so. Assuming, of course, the stewards' inquiry even goes in about it. But there's your race leader. Stormfly leads the way, and him and Slipstream just starting now to edge away from the rest of the pack. Do want to have a quick look at the fuel and tyres. There we go. Fuel and tyre situation. It looks like everybody's starting on the soft compound tyres. They started on half a tank of fuel. So it's going to be about managing that as Kevin tucked right in behind Macho Man. Makes that move side by side, and that move was really, really easy with a bit of slipstream. 2.7 seconds now is the gap to those two cars in front. That is Stormfly and Slipstream. He can see ahead of him in that Trofeo Series car with HKRT, obviously a Hellenic Knights racing team. Monkey Man Macho dropping down to 4th place, all on soft compound tyres. Midas on the softs, TJ on the softs, as is Demos. He is 4.8 seconds now behind TJ. I'm glad those two are not fighting it out. No love lost between those two after the incident at Monza. When Digo is now up to 8th, he's starting to make his move forward, but he does have a lot of work to do. Bear in mind, he trails Kevin in this championship by 20 points. So we'll want to get as close as possible. If you can't, the whole aim now over these 3 races, you've got double bubble. Always got to remember you've got double bubble in the last race at Le Mans. But he's key at the moment. If you can't beat him in this first race, is to get as close as possible and negate that points loss as much as he possibly can. If he can finish directly behind him, it's only going to increase Kevin's lead by a couple of points. At the moment, he doesn't want to have this kind of gap between them come the end of the race. He wants to be right in there behind him, or ahead of him if he possibly can. There is Cullum, good solid driver, the Canadian. He's in that Mustang. He's running currently in 9th, trying to hang on to the slipstream of Wendigo. But it's going to be a difficult task. 9-11, very, very strong. Phil in 10th, and he's in a nice bit of clear air now. He hasn't got to worry about anyone climbing on the back and getting a little bit of a slipstream from him. But equally, he's not getting anything from Cullum, so he's not got to worry about dirt. Yeah, certainly, and he can race his own race now from this stage. And currently running in 10th position, 5.7 seconds back. Wiggy's managed to gain a couple of places after that first corner incident. He is up to 11th, half a second up from Jay in the Porsche 911, and you can catch Jay in action. Well, actually, you can't. Yeah, you can catch him in action on his YouTube later for GT Champions. We all talk about there's a little bit of a change for GT Champions. Usually, you expect to see a couple of races here on Black Flag Racing TV and on the GT Champions YouTube. But because of what I would describe as a massive lack of respect from some of the entrants this year, some of the lobbies are being merged. So you're going to find Division 1, Division 2 together and Division 5, Division 6 racing together. Just to keep the numbers up, make the lobbies full. And to those people who didn't bother checking in or signing in or have pulled out of the tournament because they're not winning, fuck off, you stupid baby. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Stormfly now leads 2.1 seconds, really pulling away from Slipstream. Fastest lap of the race with a 150.1, and that is akin to qualifying pace here early on. And it's going to be a really, really solid race here, especially if Stormfly can pull away as he is. Now, we know he can't win this championship. There is a potential top 3. He's going to have to win all 4 races to pretty much guarantee it. But, of course, it's out of his hands because those around him can make a difference. Slipstream, he can't win this championship either. But this is for points. This is for pride. And at the moment, there's your championship leader. Right, there's 20 points clear. He's been incredibly dominant in this tournament from the outset. Couple of little slip-ups is the only reason. I think he missed one race and he has a couple of slip-ups along the way, which is why Wendigo has just been able to keep pace with him and come into these final 3 races just 20 points behind. And the thing is, he's very, very strong in that Corvette. It's probably one of his strongest cars, Kevin. Monkey Man Macho. Lag much better. He's clearly found a way to plug his internet in, and he's not jumping off the next door neighbour's McDonald's Wi-Fi. Looking much better today with a very, very Jamaican looking NSX. He's currently running in 4th position, 1.4 seconds ahead of the other HKRT driver in the Mercedes AMG. That is Midas Alani. TJ in 6th, 2.7 seconds. He's sandwiched between 2 Greeks, which, bearing in mind his recent shenanigans with the Greek drivers, he's probably not the same. He's probably not feeling incredibly safe sandwiched between those 2 at the moment. But he'll do the right thing. He'll keep his head down and not do anything stupid because he doesn't want me to kick him in the nuts. There's Demos again in that HKRT livery. All over the place. He's in that Renault, the RS01 Renault, which is essentially just a sports Megane, for want of a better expression. Wendigo not closing that gap, but he's looked after his tyres and fuel quite well thus far. So still plenty of racing to be getting on with. One thing I will say is that we've changed the format for this, and it's a bit smaller, but we haven't changed the tyre and fuel settings, surprisingly. Bearing in mind that we're racing 4 shorter races here. This being, I mean, it was an endurance series. It is an endurance series. So, I'm surprised we didn't sort of dilate the time a bit more. Well, anyway, moving swiftly on. Cullum running in 9th place. He is 9 seconds clear of Wiggy. Looking on the racetrack, there's no real battles going on. Everyone's really spread out. You can see here. Wiggy 3 seconds up from Phil. Phil 16 up from Rob. And Rob is 8 seconds clear of Jay, who's not having the greatest times with Trial Man. It's not the strongest track for Jay, to be fair. This is where the closest battle is at the moment. You've got Stormfly 1.5. He's ahead of Slipstream by 1.6 seconds, and Kevin's closed that gap to 1.6. So at the moment, Slipstream is sandwiched between Stormfly out in the lead and a very, very fast Kevin, who's put in a 1:49.7, which is almost as quick as Stormfly's 1:49.6 fastest lap. So actually, the lap times are quicker now than they were in qualifying. Time's really starting to ramp up, which is absolutely phenomenal at this stage of the race, has to be said. Absolutely phenomenal. You would expect the times to be ramping up towards the end, but no, they're already putting in some very, very solid times. 4 seconds back to Monkey Man Macho. He's got 1.3 back to Midas. But I think let's go on board with Stormfly as he leads the way. Or we will when he starts a fresh lap. Because it'll be interesting to see just how he tackles this trial man. Now bear in mind, they do have to use the medium compound tyre. It's not going to be a necessary evil. So because the tyre and fuel has not been adapted for the shorter race, it's not really going to be that big a deal. Fuel, of course, they will have to put some fuel on board, so they will have to pit at some stage. But now this is the big debate: do they pit and then finish the race on the medium compound tyres, or is anyone brave enough to pit twice and bin them early to keep the lap times up? I'm actually incredibly surprised, to be honest, that nobody opted to start on the mediums, run one lap, put a bit of extra fuel on, and then run to the end. That, for me, might have been actually a viable option here, particularly with the tyre and fuel wear being so favourable to the drivers. Right, so we're going to go on board with Stormfly 4. That's the one we want there. So you can see here, you get turned in, you stay on the power. It's a right, left, then again full power until you get into the tunnel. Big braking zone here in the tunnel. Get on those brakes, then you feather it round before you just ease the throttle before you can get the car straightened to the left hand side before you brake again, getting it turned in, using all the road. There's not a lot of it, but you can use it all. Again, another big braking zone here. You want to clip this apex and use all of that road on the exit. Into the tunnel we go. This is a really tricky turn. You can take it a lot tighter than you think before you head up the hill. Now, a bit of slipstream here makes all the difference to your lap time. Can absolutely make or break your lap with a little bit of slipstream. We can take a quick look behind. We can see here, if we look behind here, that you can't see the car, or you can just see a car of slipstream coming up the hill into this big braking zone. Big initial brake before you feather it off, and then you use that. It's almost got a bank which helps you round the corner. This is a really tricky section. You've got this right left combo before you come into this right hander, but the thing is, you've got to have the car positioned right for that right hander, or you're going to cost yourself so much time. Another big braking zone here, and essentially this is the slowest part of the racetrack. You're going to pull off to the left hand side if you go in the pits. If not, you stay right, you head down. Big braking zone here for this end of lap chicane. It's almost like the bus stop chicane, but exit here paramount. Sacrifice speed on the first part to maximise speed on the exit, and then you get a long run down to the start finish line, and that is your 1 minute 50-second lap around Trial Mountain Racetrack. That simple. Let's have a look at the liveries on show today. Of course, lots of black flag liveries out there. Everyone's free to do what they wish with their cars, and really loving that. And you can see there on the front, that's actually I think going to be our new crest. We need to put it out to vote actually to the Discord, but I think that's going to be our new race crest there. You can see the BFeR on the bonnet of that car. Looking very, very cool though. I am a big fan of the white, black and red livery for the race team. Different on the theme of the white, black and red, but I love the contrast in the switching of colours between the white at the front through the orange to the red at the back for Slipstream. Slipstream actually is, since he joined us, become a kind of resident livery designer. He is very, very good. And between him and Willard, pretty much all of our championship cars are designed by those guys, particularly him. He does all of our GT Champions, GTFusion I think has been done by Wood at the minute. He does all of our GT Champions, all of our endurance events, pretty much everything at the moment. It goes through AJ, so thank you very much for that. And there's more examples of his brilliance. Kevin 77, that's HKRT. He's very good at liveries as well. He's done one for his thingy. It was nice for him to turn up to a Black Flag event and not put anything Black Flag on the car, but you know, it is what it is. Monkey Man Macho, he's in his LRC livery. He hasn't put anything Black Flag on his car either. Naughty for my friend Naughty. He does actually race for us in the GT Champions. I don't know if he's racing this evening. Good evening, Arminus. How the hell are you? Good to see you, my friend. AMG Mercedes, same HKRT livery. Don't need to look at that again. There's TJ with his. He's very a lot of LGBTQ plus influence in his cars. I think he's trying to tell us something. He's a very big fan of the bright, bold colours. Another HKRT one, we've seen that before. There is Wendigo's Porsche. Nice Black Flag Racing TV there, and a tribute to me on the back. Boom Shankar. The ART, it's the trademark blue and yellow for the Amigos racing team. Always very good livery coming out from the ART lads. Very, very detailed. And I mean, you can see tiny little details all over the car. Absolutely phenomenal. Brilliant stuff. There's Wiggy with his very trademark orange car. I think pretty much every car he races in now is orange, unless it's a team livery. See, it's kind of his thing. And there's bloody camera's not playing today, is it? Camera's not playing. Obviously the tribute to Wales on the car, which it would be because Wiggy is Welsh. There's Phil, jumped in lastminute.com. He didn't have a livery ready, but to be fair, he jumped in after the broadcast even started. I will allow him that. He's actually gone for that McLaren, which is not a bad choice here, running in 11th place. Kevin has made the move up to second. We'll have a look there. It actually looks like we'll find out what happened to Slipstream in a minute. What did happen to Slipstream? Because he is down in fourth, so he's lost a place to Kevin and to Monkey Man Macho. So Kevin puts in the fastest lap of the race last lap with a 1:49.5. It's 3.8 seconds behind your leader, Stormfly, currently. Monkey Man Macho has made that move on Slipstream, but Slipstream very, very close to the back of him. Could potentially make that move back. And here he is. He's actually got a really good run on him and does have to back off coming into this this first left-hander. You just got to be so careful through there. As we saw in turn one, there was a coming together between Kevin and Wiggy there, which has put Wiggy way down the order, and Kevin now up into second. A great start from Kevin. Launched him from pretty much the back of the grid right up to 6th place before he got into that. And I thought Slipstream was going to make that little move up the inside. There is a little bit of lag again from Monkey Man Macho. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest, it was a bit of a problem at Le Mans on Wednesday evening. Just a little bit. The guys found it very difficult to make the overtakes. The problem is when another driver is lagging like that, it's so hard for you to know where to put your car when you're making an overtake or when you're following, because you're never entirely sure where their car is in relation to yours. We already have one or two issues with netcode, but that kind of makes things a little bit worse when you can't see where, or you don't entirely know where the car is, and that kind of sideways movement. Monkey Man Macho won't see that. He won't know that his car is jotting around like that. So his car will be where his car is, but it's whether or not he can put it in the right place. When you make the overtake, that's the big problem. But down in fourth, Slipstream is just settling in though to a good rhythm. We're about halfway to the first pit window, which I imagine will be something around lap 20, between 20 and 22, before they jump into their first pit window. and I will be back very, very quickly. Apologies for that. One of my neighbours is a fucking bellend, right? So he basically, he had a big bonfire the other day to burn a load of wood, which in itself was a bit fucking stupid. Number one, our borough is a bit stupid. You're not allowed to burn anything. Anyway, some environmental bollocks. That's not my problem. The problem is that obviously we had a house fire a few years ago. So every time we smell burning, the girls fucking panic, of course. But yeah, fair enough. He did it the other day and it was done and dusted. He's fucking done it again today, but he started the fire with petrol this time, even though the last one nearly got out of control, and it fucking stinks. And he's a fucking cunt. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Stormfly leads the way still. 4.8 seconds is his lead from Kevin 77. I do want to remove that from the top of the cars. There we go. That's much better, isn't it? That's much better. 5 seconds now is the lead between Stormfly and Kevin. Still plenty of racing to go. We're only 22 minutes in. Fastest lap is with Kevin right now with a 1:49.5. He has fought his way. I say fought his way. He's barged his way through on turn one, and then fought his way through since then up into second position. Now the thing is, obviously, the championship's going to be done on a real time basis. But because there's a potential steward inquiry, it may be that those points change. So that's the only downside to it being as it is, because the positions may change based on any stewarding decisions. So I suppose from his perspective, the best bet is just to put his foot down, go for it, and hope for the best. Really. Me personally, I think if you're taking someone out, if you hit someone on turn one like that, you've done it. Give the place back, then you're not subject to a stewarding decision. But that is Jay being lapped there by Kevin. Kevin coming around. So Jay not having the greatest of times here on this racetrack. Jay, of course, is the glorious sponsor for this event, and trophies will be awarded to the top three. There is Slipstream. He's back up into third. What happened to Monkey Man? So Monkey Man's had a crash, clearly, because he has dropped back all the way down to 8th place. And Demos has disconnected. So what happened for him to disconnect? I'm going to have a look and see if there was a come together with TJ there, because TJ's got a penalty on board. Because I think Demos was around there somewhere, was he not? Oh, it looks like there, Demos was in a wall. Can't actually go back to it. It looked to me that Demos had crashed and was in a wall, and that's why, or maybe there was an equipment failure and he went into the wall, and that's why he's disconnected. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, Slipstream back up to third, because Monkey Man Macho, you can see there, when he crossed the line, we'll see just how bad that was. Yeah, that was a terrible lap for him. That was a 2:05.2 for Monkey Man Macho. So clearly a very bad lap for him. And he's right up behind TJ, and potentially going to make his move back up into 6th place. You can see him closing down on the back of that McLaren, and much quicker through there in that NSX, and almost having to hold back a little bit to avoid. And oh, he loses it. And I'm sorry, my friend, but
You can't park that there, mate.
and he's left loads of all over the racetrack, and I don't know why, but for some reason on every other stream deck for every other competition I've got his little theme tune, but for some reason it's not on this one. But anyway, is what it is what it is. So can't make the move. He's not close. It wasn't actually close enough to Colum for Colum to make the move. Although Colum now with a great run up the hill, and he is revving the arse out of that Mustang. Coming down to this big braking zone, can he make the move up the inside? Certainly close that gap right down to within half a second. Fastest lap for Colum was a 51.1. I can tell you now, Monkey Man Macho is quicker than that, 50.4. So Colum, if he's going to get this move done, needs to get it done while Monkey Man's getting back up to speed. But a couple of bad laps from him, and he's way down the order. Wendigo's made his way up to 5th. There he is. Finally makes his way up to the business end. Of course, he needs to finish as close as possible to Kevin because he is challenging him for the lead of this championship. TJ also in that top 3. There he is running in 6th place just to finish lap 15. We're not far off the halfway point. Going to be about 32, 33 laps here. Pit window will be somewhere between lap 20 and 22. Some might choose to go in a little bit earlier. I think it's really dependent on what kind of strategy you want to run. They've still got to run the medium compound tyres. Everybody has got to run the medium compound tyres. So no one's going to get a distinct advantage going into the second phase of this race. They're all going to be running the medium compound tyres. There's your race leader. Still 5 seconds clear of Kevin 77 in that Porsche 911. He's doing a really good job actually keeping it out in the lead and churning out some incredibly consistent lap times. From lap 6 to lap 14, separated by nothing more than sort of 7/10 across the board. That's incredibly consistent. And if you look there from sort of lap 7, 50.0 followed by 50.1, 50.2, 50.1, 49.9, a little anomaly of 49.7, much quicker. 50.2, 50.3. So he is starting to slow his pace a touch last couple of laps, and then he puts in a 50.4. So his pace is dropping a touch. I don't know why that's done. Yeah, so his pace has dropped a little bit. 50.2, 50.3, 50.4. The gap is still sticking around at 4.7 seconds. It looks to me that he's hanging on to the fuel for as long as he possibly can. What he doesn't want to be doing is burning that out too early and then having a super long run on the medium tyres towards the end of this race. Certainly because it's only going to be about 20 minutes at the end of the race that they're going to be running those medium compound tyres for. Question's going to be really, what's the time loss between the mediums and the softs? Is the time loss enough to justify going in, putting on the mediums, putting on the fuel you need, coming out, doing one lap, then straight back in, putting on the softs and doing that? Is it worth doing a quick 2-stopper, essentially a 1.5 stopper, to put back the soft tyres? I suppose it really depends on what sort of time loss they're going to get right now. I wouldn't imagine, with it being such a short lap, that it's worthwhile doing. But who knows? Certainly Daytona, it might be a doable thing there. It might certainly be a viable option. And Daytona's going to be a tricky circuit actually because it's very slipstream based. They're in the Group 2 cars, so it's going to be a very interesting choice of car, more so than here in at Daytona and certainly at Le Mans, will be the absolute deciding factor, because you've got two distinct options for particularly Le Mans. Is you've got the older, really quick in a straight line sort of Group 1 cars who are absolutely like shit off a shovel, fly, but you're going to lose a bit of time through Indianapolis and Porsche curves and that kind of final and the sort of Ford chicane and that kind of thing at the end of the track, and certainly at the beginning. But in a straight line, you're going to be absolutely on it, absolutely all over it. Now, then the other option is obviously you go for a more modern car, something like the 919 hybrid, where you're going to absolutely be so quick through the Porsche curves, through the Ford chicane, through Indianapolis. All of that section is going to be really quick. You're going to give up a little bit of straight line speed down the Mulsanne straights, but does it balance out? it'd be interesting to see what these guys choose to do. I have a feeling drivers like Stormfly and like Wiggy, who are incredibly strong at Le Mans, are going to go for the older, super quick in the straight line cars, and be prepared to sacrifice a little bit of pace through the slower sections of the course. But you know, when double points are up for grabs, do you start second guessing yourself when you know it's double bubble points? I thought that was the case, Demos. I thought that Ethan would. His message just come up from Demos on the thing. He apologised. I thought because it wasn't. It sort of disappeared into a wall and then disappeared off. So it did to me look as though there was a technical failure, and I didn't say that at the time. Obviously, no reason at this stage to be rage quitting from anything. But of course, if he's back and he's working, he can jump back in for race number 2. But that does, of course, because it was less than half distance. It's unfortunately going to go down as a DNF. So there's Kevin there. He's 5.2 seconds behind Stormfly. We are just past the midway point of this race, lap 18. If you're just joining us, this is the first of 3 races for the finale of the Staying Power Endurance Series that started way back in February. This is the first of those 3 races at Trial Mountain in the GT3 class. This we did from a qualifying grid. Once this race is finished in about, more than 1.5 to start with, only about 15. Yeah, 18 minutes left in this race. So in about 18 minutes time, so somewhere around, what are we looking, 9 laps? About 9 laps time. We're going to move on, and then we'll go to Daytona for another 45 minutes, and then so on and so forth. Rinse and repeat, as they say in the business. So, pit window open somewhere between now and lap 22 for Stormfly, who was there. Looking all right for fuel. We'll have a quick look actually, because we're coming into that kind of pit window now. Certainly got at least one more lap in him. So I think if not this lap, then certainly next lap for Stormfly. I think we've got the same thing for Kevin there in second. Unless to be fair, he's pushed quite hard in this first stint because he had a lot of work to do. They've both opted to stay out. Slipstream, he could do another lap if he wishes. Does he come in? No. He also stays out for one more lap. Midas, what's he going to do in that Mercedes? Well, he's firmly staying to that right hand side. He's staying out as well for one more lap. Wendigo, he's staying out as well. He's up into 5th place. Some work for him to do to try and catch Midas in 4th. TJ in 6th place. Is he going to stay in? He is staying out. He could potentially do another couple of laps, so he might actually take the lead of this race, albeit briefly, during the pit window. Monkey Man Macho, couple of really bad laps from him. 205 and a 158. You saw him spinning a couple of times. That's cost him, but he is staying out for one more lap. Nobody opting to go for the early stop. Colum stays out as well. There's Wiggy. Now, Wiggy, it looks to me that Wiggy got in nice and early, actually. So, yes, it looks... Either he went in really early, or he is really, really looking after that those fuel and tyres. Because he's hardly used anything, and there's nothing there to indicate. I know there is. Lap 12, lap 13, he's been in the pits. So he went in very, very early to run long. But he's going to still have to run the medium compound tyre at some stage. So, interesting strategy from him. Very interesting. There is Phil in 10th. He's going to come in. He can need to actually go another couple of laps in lap 20 before he's coming in. Rocket Rob. It looks like he's being lapped there by the Mercedes. That's of Midas. Is that Midas in the Mercedes? Yeah, I think he was, yeah. And he's running in 11th place. He's 44 seconds behind Phil. He's still got a pit as well. And Jay bringing up the rear 10 seconds back. He's definitely pit. He must have pit, because there's no way he would have that fuel and tyres unless he had done so. 15 minutes left of this race. So it's a 50-minute. I don't know why I thought it was. Initially I thought it was now. Then I thought it was 50 minutes, but it's 15. So it's 3 50-minute races back to back. And then we'll update the scores, and then we'll see where we stand in terms of the championship. So Stormfly leads the way by 5 seconds as we head into the pit window for this first race here at Trial Mountain. And this will sort out the men, well, not the men from the boys. That was a ridiculous thing to say because they're all boys. I'm only joking. They're all, of course, they know what they're doing. 5 seconds clear is Stormfly. Kevin in second now, 9.3 seconds now. Back to slipstream. Kevin with a lot of work to do. Listen, there's still 15 minutes left in this race, and it's all about accumulating the points. For Kevin to win this championship, he needs to beat Wendigo, who is now down in. Wendigo's actually in. He's been in the pits actually. So Wendigo has pit now. He pit on lap 19. Colum coming out of the pits as well. So everyone in front of Wendigo still needs to go in. Now Kevin just needs to finish ahead of Wendigo and ahead of TJ to guarantee he wins this championship. But he's got to do it for 3 races. There's no guarantee that the gap is big enough even going into the last race at Le Mans, because the last race at Le Mans is double bubble points and literally anything can happen. 5.2 seconds is the current gap back to Kevin. You know, in this pit window, now this is the thing, it's going to be about bravery in the pits, isn't it? Because they both know how much fuel they're going to need to get to the end. Who is prepared to underfuel and risk it for that extra little bit of time in the pits? Or do you stay longer and put more on so you know you can push? At the moment, you're kind of second guessing your opponent. What is the guy you're racing going to do? From Stormfly's perspective, he's 4.8 seconds clear. So he knows he needs to get in and get out before Kevin to win this race. The problem that he's got, he doesn't know how hard Kevin's going to push in the second stint. Well, look, yeah, I think you can safely assume he's going to push really hard, but he doesn't know what he's going to do in terms of fuel. Whether he's going to be able to give it absolute full beams, or whether he's going to have to go for a different strategy whereby he's trying to jump him in the pits and then hold him off. So you're kind of second guessing a little bit what you do fuel wise. I mean, for me, I think if you're in the lead, you just play your game. You race your race, you go in, you put in the fuel you think you need to get to the end to keep the pace up that you've been keeping. I mean, look at that phenomenal pace. 50.1, 50.0, 50.3. Absolutely solid. Nailed on lap after lap after lap after lap after lap of full-on, balls-out consistency, which is what you absolutely need when you're racing at the top end like this. 4.8 seconds is the gap. Does he come in this time? He's staying out for one more lap on those soft compound tyres. So he's only going for a very, very short blast on the mediums. Kevin goes in. Now this will be interesting because is he going to have traffic to contend with when he comes back out? If that's the case, then actually this could be interesting. The other thing, of course, is Stormfly going to have to hold off a little bit to make it round this lap? Because we're looking at what? By the time he's gone in and come back out, there's only going to be 8 laps remaining. So, sorry, four laps remaining, about 8 minutes. 4 to 5 laps remaining. Which he's going to have to do on the medium compound tyre. Now, it really depends how quick they are in comparison on those mediums. I want to have a look actually for someone who's on the medium, done a couple of laps on the mediums. So we'll see here what the comparative time is. Wendigo has been doing low 50, well, sort of mid 50s to low 51s on the softs. He's going to come round now on those mediums, and we'll see just what that time loss is. And I think we can say it's pretty much going to be comparable. He'll cross the line. He's in, or he'll be in 5th by the time he's come through. So he crosses the line there. Actually, he's behind Midas in 6th. So he's lost a position. That's a 51.8. So actually, not losing too much time on the mediums in comparison to the softs. So it's not a huge loss. Certainly not worth diving in for a quick blast just on medium tyres for one lap. Monkey Man Macho into the pit. So, with Stormfly coming in at the end of this lap, 31 seconds clear. He's going to have to get out ahead of Kevin. Kevin currently running in 2nd. He's fueled to the end of this race now. TJ running 3rd. So the top 3 in the championship, Kevin, Wendigo and TJ are running 2nd, 6th and 3rd respectively. Stormfly in. Where is Kevin? He's got this tricky final sector to negotiate. This big right-hander, he's coming round now. It's quite a long run before you get to the end of the pit lane, because you come past here. You see he does his left-hander, and now you see on the left-hand side as he comes down, there's the pit entrance there. You've still not got to navigate this very, very tricky chicane at the end of the lap here. So you've got the left hand, you've got the right hand that takes you out onto the start-finish straight, and then you start heading down. Now Stormfly is just exiting the pits now, but I think that gap has come down a little bit. Into turn one they go. Showing Stormfly 49 seconds ahead. That's not entirely clear. We'll see at the end of this lap just what that gap is. We can see it tumbling down. So there is Stormfly. He is, he's ahead. I think he's done enough. It's a lot of work for Kevin to do. And actually, I think he's gained a bit of time through that pit window. So Slipstream up to third because TJ had to pit, of course. He's 12 seconds behind Kevin. Midas is in fourth, 10.7 behind Slipstream in that Mercedes-Benz. Wendigo only 1.7 seconds behind him now. Midas, quickest lap. He's only just come out on those mediums, so we haven't got a representative lap just yet. But he was doing high 51s on the softs. Wendigo he's quicker than that on the mediums. So I imagine he'll close that 1.5 seconds down relatively quickly. You can see by the way the time's tumbling that he is already doing that. TJ comes back out in sixth position, 9.8 seconds behind Wendigo, 10.6 ahead of Marcus Coulomb from Canada and from AIT in that Mustang Sally. 1.7 to a Monkey Man Macho, who has Wiggy all over him. Now Wiggy does still need to run the medium compound tyre. His race ruined in turn one. He had to come together with Kevin. That still needs to be looked at by the stewards, so the result for this race will be pending, of course, for that particular incident. So we can go back to Phil. He runs out the top 10. He's just crossing the line to complete lap 22. I think that's he's being lapped there by Slipstream. Is it Slipstream in the other Porsche? I think it's one of them, one of the Porsches. Jay in 11th, he's 23 seconds behind Phil, and Rocket Rob 42 seconds at the back of the pack. But this is where the big action, yeah, that's where the big action is. 6.7 seconds to Kevin. We've got just 6 minutes left of this race, so essentially we're looking at 4 laps remaining. 4 laps for Kevin to catch him. 150.7, his quickest lap on those medium compound tyres. So it's only about 7/10 slower than. In fact, I mean he's done slower laps on the softs, the 51.2. So not much of a time loss on those medium compound tyres. Obviously, you're pushing them a little bit harder now because it is that final run to the end. He does have the fastest lap with a 1:49.5. We're not going to see that replicated now on the medium tyres, of course. There is your race leader, Stormfly, that was lapping Robert time. 6.4 seconds clear. Sorry guys, I'm going to have to... Apologies for that. My daughter was playing Taylor Swift, and I know how that stupid bitch loves to copyright people. Stormfly leads away still, 6.7 seconds. Kevin just coming around to... I think he's lapping Rob there in the... I think Rob, I think it's Phil actually coming around to lap. Slipstream, I think he's going to be comfortably in the top 3. Wendigo has made that move around Midas and made it look relatively easy as well. He got there pretty darn quickly. We'll have a quick look and see if we can catch it. I think it was already done and dusted before we get there. Yes, indeed it was. We're not good. We've missed the overtake because of that stupid Taylor Swift one. Midas Alani is already 1.8 behind Wendigo. Not able to keep him at bay. 9.7 seconds back to TJ, who's running in 6th position. Wendigo would absolutely love to gain another place here, but I just think it's a little bit too much work at this stage. That is Wiggy making a move there on Colum. Well, I think we can see this move actually. So we can see here, that is, that's Monkey Man Macho tucked in behind there. And it's quite an easy move for Wiggy around Colum there as they head down to turn 1. And Monkey Man Macho looked like he was coming through as well. Up into 8th, so a double overtake on Colum, losing 2 places there, but good battle actually between Monkey Man Macho and Wiggy. Is this going to rage on? Is this still a battle to be had for Monkey Man? Because I'm not even sure. I don't remember Wiggy running the medium compound tyre. Now I could be mistaken, but I don't think he did, or unless he ran it very, very early, or pretty very early and did it for 1 lap. But now he is tucked in behind Monkey Man Macho. Monkey Man Macho making that move. With the slipstream at BMW, he's going to be able to easily, I'm going to say easily get up the inside, but defended very well there from Monkey. He's held him at bay, and the Macho Man holds on to 7th place. Quick rundown from the rear. We lost Demos early on in the disconnection. Rocket Rob in 12th place. Jay in 11th, just finishing lap 25. In 10th, there's Phil, 1 minute behind Colum. We saw those 2 places to these two who are battling out at the moment for 7th place. Although Wiggy with a severe fuel deficit. Can he make it to the end? That's the question. And has he used the mediums? That's the other burning, pertinent question. The gap out front, 6 seconds. It has been closed a little bit by Kevin. He did a 50.8, 50 points, 50.7, 50.8, 50.6. Very similar to Stormfly in terms of consistency. Stormfly a little bit slower, low 51s, but I think the gap is significantly big enough to not allow Kevin the time to close in. Stormfly had a really good start. I mean, and he was aided by the fact he was at the front of the grid. It wasn't too shabby. Kevin starting from the rear because he was a little bit late for qualifying. Maybe did it on purpose as solidarity to Demos, who had a grid penalty. Wendigo, 4 place grid penalty for him. He's actually worked his way back up, and he's actually only lost 1 position. So I mean, that's the thing. 4 place grid penalty, started in 7th. He's worked his way back up to 4th. Would he have still made 3rd with that 4 place grid penalty? 15 seconds behind Slipstream. I'd like to think actually, I don't think he would. Maybe starting further up, it might have been different, but I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to call at this stage, isn't it? Because, you know, we're looking at representative pace on different parts of the racetrack. But it looks like he's going to make this home. He's got around Midas, and I think it looks like he's going to make this home relatively comfortably as we head into the... I don't think it's the final lap for these guys. I think these guys might get another lap, you know. Oh, no, maybe not. No, I think this is the final lap. So, yeah, this will be the final lap of the race. And Stormfly leads by 5 seconds from Kevin 77. I do want to check out this battle here because it's going to be 1 more lap for these guys too. But I don't know if Wiggy's going to have the fuel to finish this race because that is an empty tank. He's going to have to hope that that he gets some great lift to coast and slipstream and keeps him ahead of Colum. Colum's 2.5 seconds back, but has enough fuel just to make it to the end here. Monkey Man Macho, he can push. He's got loads of fuel on board. In fact, actually overfueled a little bit and probably would be a little bit closer to TJ had he not overfueled quite so much. Midas not able to close on Wendigo, of course. Just want to keep an eye out here. So, there we go. Heading down for the last time here at Trial Mountain into this final chicane. Time is up. This is the final lap of the race. Round the last corner he goes, and he'll take the win here. Win number 1. First blood goes to Stormfly VR46 in the first of 3 races here in this, I was going to say salami, the finale of staying power. Coming home in second, there's Kevin 77, and Slipstream, as he comes through that final chicane, will come home in third. 2 911s in the top 3, and a Corvette in between the 2 of them. There's Slipstream coming home in third. 16 seconds down the road when Digo. He's managed a 4-second gap to Midas and managed to maintain that for the final lap. We're going to have a look in a minute and see if Starbury actually makes it before he runs out of fuel. When Digo crosses the line in fourth, 5 seconds back, there's Midas Solani. He crossed the line in fifth. There's TJ. He's 8 seconds back. He's through that final chicane. Down to the line he goes, finishing in 6th place. Now here we go, coming down to the line. Monkey Man Macho. He's got Wiggy tucked in behind him. Wiggy's got no fuel at all, but he does somehow make it. Colum coming home in 9th. 10th was Phil. 11th was Jay, and Rocket Rob comes home in 12th position. But a great start to this 3-race finale with a win from Stormfly VR46, and Kevin 77 manages to increase his lead at the top of the championship table. So a good start there towards taking this title home. There's the full classified index. Stormfly in the 911 from Kevin in the Corvette C7. Slipstream in the 911 and Wendigo in the 911, 3rd and 4th. In 5th in the Mercedes AMG was Midas. TJ in the 650S was 6th. Monkey Man Macho in the NSX was 7th. 8th was Wiggy in the M6. 9th was Kalum in the Mustang. 650S for Phil in 10th. Jay in the 911 was 11th. Rocket Rob in the 650S was 12th. And DNF was Demos after a disconnection in that RS01. There we go, done and dusty. Just want to get this replay saved. Bring the lobby back up. There we go, get this replay saved. Just to check out any stewarding phenomenon. But there we go. Right. So we've got 2 more races to go. What we're going to do, the lobby's going to be updated for race number 2. And then we'll get cracking with that. I'll be back with you shortly. I'm just going to update the race results, and I'll be back with you very shortly.
It's Friday night, and the drinks are on my mind. The decision sets in, one that will churn your skin. The love is right, let them have their time. And I have this notion, let's keep these wheels in motion. In motion. You for that I did not know. Did you think I would let it go? Oh no. And in time, yes, I think it's absurd, but until then you'll leave your words. Well, lay on. Now it's time to defend your lies, lies you've been feeding me all this time. And will you reoffend? Oh, darling, you say that you are innocent, but your ways, they seem irrelevant, but still play on. Now it's time to defend your lies, Lies you've been feeding me all this time, and will you reoffend? Oh, darling, how you reached your lover's end. No more will we make pretend like we
Something to fight for. Oh.
we had nothing to fight for. We had
Welcome back. Race number 2 being set up. We are at Daytona in road course. Really, really tricky circuit, this one. You've got to find that balance between all-out, flat-out pace around the main oval to the little intricate driving you need through the tricky corners of the infield road circuit. And you've got that very, very difficult bus stop chicane halfway round the oval as well, which just requires a little bit of finesse and can quite easily catch you out. We've got, I think, all 12 drivers will be back for race number 2. So, updated results. I've updated them. I haven't uploaded them. Is going to be complicated, but I can try it. I can certainly try and upload the results for you. In fact, that's what I'm going to do right now. Give me a sec. I'm just going to continue with the top 10, if that's okay with you, rather than do the whole lot. So hold the line caller while I update these. It'll take me a couple of seconds. Well, actually, a little bit longer than that, because I can't multitask, of course. Doobie 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 doo. Nearly there, nearly there. Why is it everything goes slow? When you want it to go quickly, everything just works really, really slowly. Of course, we're now in the GR2 cars, so the pace is ramping right up for this second race here. It'll be interesting to see actually what cars people pick, because you know the obvious choice is going to be the GTR, particularly for the long straights. Although the NSX not a bad shout, but I think the smart money is going to be on the GTR here, surely, depending on, of course, how the tyre wear works with that. So just saving these results for you, and hopefully, if I've done this correctly, which I think I probably have, I replace that like that, and then come back in here like this. I should just be able to go boom shanker. That's how we currently stand. It's a little bit out of shape. I didn't work on the shape too hard. I just went for the wrong thing. Let me reshape it for you correctly. I didn't work on the shape too hard. I just wanted to get it in and done and dusted for you. Sorry, I'm leaving it like that. I'm not messing around with it. That's how it stands at the moment. Kevin leads the way. He's opened that gap up a little. It's 216 points for him. Wendigo, why is it still say, oh, he's on 192, which is what Kevin was on at the start of this race. 150 for TJ. Looking at that win for VR46, that's brought him, Stormfly, brought him up to 118 points. Still a lot to do to get in that top 3, but it's still in his grasp. Demos, no points for, because he did not finish. finds Wiggy only 8 points shy of him there. Of course, GMAC, Armin is not racing today. They will, I imagine, at the end of this race, probably drop outside this top 10 completely, possibly. Jay with 69 points. Don't race anymore, Jay. Finish on 69 points, and you can have an award for being the 69 winner. Midas with 81 points stays inside that top 10. So looking to see how that changes for at the end of this race. And of course, this is another single race, and this is done reverse grid from race number 1. So if you finish last, you start first, etc, etc, etc. So it's going to be an interesting grid, very interesting, particularly because you're going to have some really, really quick guys coming up behind some not so quick guys on the straights. So you've got to bear in mind, turn one's absolute carnage here, and I'm going to say this now. I will call a red flag if I see anyone driving like an absolute cock into turn 1, because you look. Anyone that's driven this course knows that turn 1 is an absolute fuckfest, right? So the best thing to do is just keep your fucking head. You know, if you have to lose a position or two in turn 1 because you're quicker, be prepared to do it. Don't drive like an absolute knob. It's very similar to turn 1 at Monza, in that it just seems that people go into this race and think it's a one-lap race and they have to win it in the first turn. So we will be keeping an eye on it and seeing just how people tackle turn 1. But the race is about to begin. Everyone's checked in, everyone's ready to go, and we'll get a chance to see what cars people have opted for this time around. It's going to be an interesting grid this time, I can tell you that for nothing. Really annoying that I have to do this every single time. Do that to want to get rid of that. So here we go. Race number 2 at Daytona Road. Just one more after this. Rocket Rob leads away. That's 4 laps. That's 5. And we are away. And heading down to turn 1 is going to be really, really tricky. Who at the back's got a really good start. Then we can already see there some of the faster cars already edging their way forward. Into turn 1 we go. Let's stick with Wendigo. He's got a lot of work to do here. Anyone coming a cropper, it looks like everyone through relatively safely. Not too bad through turn 1. Right, so TJ with the best start though. He's up into the lead of this race already. Into first for him. Colum is second position. Just behind him. TJ in the... He's gone for that GT500 Nissan GTR. Lexus RCF for Colum. Interesting choice. Everyone's, of course, can start on the soft compound tyres. Midas has also gone for that RCF GT500. Monkey Bear Macho. He's gone for my favourite Group 2 car. I love this car. It's... well, no, he hasn't, clearly. What's going on there? No, he's gone for the NSX concept. That's not the car. I saw a different car. Thought that might be the one he was in. No, it was, because it was Midas making the move up into second. And Midas has gone for that CLK LM, which is a great, great motor car. I love this car so much. He's up into third. Fourth is Monkey Man Macho in the NSX. Demos is gone for also for that CLK. And a little coming together there in the bus stop chicane. Look at those shenanigans. What is going on there? Demos, and Rocket Rob, Stormfly, Wendigo, all little shenanigans going on there. Let's have a little look again. Just what happened going into that bus stop chicane. Because it all went a little bit crazy. There was, little Kevin absolutely barging his way through like a bull in a china shop. No attention. No attention to whether there's other cars around him. Absolutely barging his way through. But everyone through safely. No one died. So I think we can get away with that one this time. But yeah, interesting. So a lot of people opted actually for that really, really brilliant Mercedes-Benz. Which is an awesome, awesome racing car. The really annoying thing is I love it, but I haven't yet got it. Apologies for that. Right, so doesn't look like Wiggy had a great start at all. Don't know what happened to him. Whether he got caught up in some early shenanigans. We're going to have to find out. It just doesn't seem to be working out for Wiggy at the star races. It's almost as though he's being targeted if I didn't know any better. Slipstream in 12th position. He didn't have a good start either. He's opting for that GTR. He's 3.7 seconds back from Phil. Phil is in which car? He's in the Lexus RCF. Jay ahead. I know what Jay's in. He's going to be in the GTR, which is a great car choice. Not quite as good as that Mercedes-Benz, which is just ridiculously awesomely good. Lexus there as Jay making a great move round the outside of the Lexus of Rob, and Phil coming through as well. So Rob didn't get a good exit there and loses 2 places as those 2 cars of Jay and Phil come through. Wendigo in 8th place. He is side by side. Ahead of him, side by side, is Kevin and Stormfly battling it out for 7th place. With Kevin making that move through into 6th. And we'll have a little look here and see how that battle raged on. So you can see here that they were side by side going into turn 1. And despite having the inside line, Kevin just so much better on the brakes into turn 1 and gets that position and gets it done. I don't know why I'm saying DRS, because there's clearly no DRS available to anybody. But great move there from Kevin to move himself up into 6th. But a lot of work to do, because Slipstream here is your friend, and sometimes it's good to be behind another car. In the lead there is Midas, and just shows the strength of that AMG Mercedes, which is such a quick car in a straight line. He's already 2.5 seconds clear of Colum, out in the lead of this race. That is going to be a great points haul for him in that brilliant, and I can't wait to that. This is the problem, right? So I have the money points car, and then I don't, and I'll spend it on something else, and it comes into the thing and I don't have the money clear. I need to make sure I've got the money ready for when it does make it into the Legends garage again. Waiting patiently. So Colum and TJ batting out. TJ tucked beautifully in behind in that slipstream for that move around the Amigos driver, who's doing a good job actually holding TJ off. And into the braking zone in turn 1 they go. Any bravery from TJ? Almost charging into the back, but manages to hold off. And round and round and round he goes. But 3rd place, really solid performance from him thus far. In 4th is Monkey Man Macho, 2.2 seconds back in 4th place, but he's got Demos right there with him. Demos is there with him. Demos also in that Mercedes-Benz. In the GTR just behind, that's Kevin. And Stormfly has been taken now by Wendigo. I hope it wasn't roughly, and I hope it wasn't from behind, but Wendigo also in that very, very awesome AMG Mercedes. Now, he needs, if he wants any hope of challenging for this championship, he needs to get ahead of Kevin at this stage and win this race. This really is absolute paramount, because what he doesn't want to do is be the 30 odd points adrift going into the final race, because double points or not, it's a big ask. What he wants to do is try and close that gap as much as possible towards the end here, and he's making the move. He had the slipstream into the braking zone, they go, but Kevin just so much braver under braking every single time. And again, he has to go again and use that slipstream again. Can he find a way through? Is he close enough? It's certainly got the pace. That Mercedes-Benz, when it gets its foot down, it really does have the pace on it. But was he too far back this time? Can he make a move? Kevin's going to defend that inside line. He's going to make Wendigo go around the outside. A little bit of movement. I think in situations like that, there's no point. There's no point trying to defend when someone's going around with your slipstream. Like, it's just absolutely no point. You just make the move again like you did there, retake the place into turn 1. But weaving as you do on the straight, it's just absolutely no point for me, because you know the car's got so much more pace than you, and all you're going to do is cause an accident. But let's face it, this man's got a much better racecraft than I do, and who am I to judge how it's done? He's not winning the championship because he doesn't know how to race a car. There is Stormfly. He's in 8th place at the moment, tucked in behind Wendigo, and he's gone for the RCF. Sorry, he's gone for the Audi, which is a really interesting choice, the Audi actually. And you can see the wing on that alley just moving as they come out onto the straight. Because he's got that DRS, oh, it says DRS, it's not really DRS, is it? Not proper DRS. But it does allow for extra speed, which is exactly what you want when you're trying to race that AMG Mercedes, which in a straight line is just a phenomenal line. And here we go, just a touch of the brakes through the bus stop chicane. And I'll tell you what, we did the onboard with Stormfly last time. Let's stay on board with him for the onboard here as well. So you head round at full pace, top gear, head towards the start finish line. That's the penalty line right here. You get a penalty here, you are screwed. It's an absolute killer, the penalty here. Wendigo again trying to make that move around the outside of Kevin. Does get it done this time. Stormfly has to back off a little bit earlier than he would like to. We just go into turn one. Hard braking down into second gear. You get the car turned, you get back on that power. Then you power through, little left-right jink. Right-left jink. Into what's essentially turn 4. Again, another big braking zone that you can use. Loads of the road on the exit, a lot more than you think. Right over that white line to the yellow rumble strip on the side of the grass. Then you head down again. You flick it to the left at full speed, changing up as you do. Big braking zone again. You've got to stay out of that gravel. It's going to cost you so much time. As you head down back towards the oval part of the racetrack, you're looking for that little road there. Little touch of brakes. Get it changed down into second gear. Again, using all the road before you get on the power and power through those gears and rev it out. You really want to rev it out. You're not saving any fuel. Tucked in behind with that slipstream is really going to give you a good rundown to the bus stop chicane. And if you can get the move done before, good. If you get it done after, even better, because you don't want to give them a run on you when you get out of the chicane. So into the chicane they go. Good run out of here, and then it's all golden. Little bit slow coming out. Kevin gets a much better exit, and that's going to cost Stormfly loads of time because he's way out of that slipstream edge. Picking up a penalty on the way out as well. Absolutely devastating. You see just how much time you lose. And you can see with the pace that Kevin's got behind Wendigo, he's putting out a massive gap. And here we go into the penalty zone here. Massive time loss. You can see how it looks. Way out, so it's way more than the half-second penalty you're given. And you can criticise the penalties all you like in this game, but they are what they are, and you have to suck them up. Okay, just back to the front, and that Mercedes-Benz in the hands of Midas, not worrying about dirty air. He's got a nice clear air ahead. Just goes to show just how quick that car is. Absolutely devastating. Fastest lap with a 1:37.5 for him, and he is way out in the lead right now. Absolutely monster. 8.7 second lead. This, of course, is going to be a lot more fuel intensive than the last race. 38 minutes left, so halfway point obviously is going to be 25 minutes in. I imagine we will be seeing a fuel stop somewhere around there because you're literally just flat out the whole time. There is Coulomb from ART, and I just want to note that there are races from other teams that have bothered to put Black Flag livery on their car somewhere for this race. Not digging anyone in particular. Nice racing scene. Monkey Man Macho. No, even he's put something on his car, even if it's just one little thing. The only person really that can be excused for not having any representative livery on the car is Phil, because he joined this race last minute.com in proper last minute.com. Actually, I need to update the table with Phil in it, don't I? I don't think I did. I will do that after the race. But Monkey Man Macho running in third, and at the moment he just needs to close about 6/10 to the back of Coulomb to get the additional benefit of that slipstream. And there's TJ making a move on Demos. Can we? Oh no, it didn't happen again. What happened there? So let's have a look, see what happened, because he did initially make a move on him. So we can see here, there is TJ makes the move up the inside. Well, in fact, he's round the outside. And these two again, no love lost, and he loses a couple of places there as Demos comes back through. So side by side there, that's side by side with Wendigo. So it's all going off back there at the moment. Wendigo up to 5th place. TJ drops down to 6th. He's now got Kevin for company. What happened to Kevin? So he's had a bad lap somewhere, clearly, because he is down in 7th place. Oh, no, I don't think he actually made it that far forward yet. Ignore me. There's still a lot of battle. It's going to be hard, actually, for these guys to get forward. But Wendigo up to 5th position. So was it a bad lap from Kevin, or was it a good lap from TJ? We got him up into 6th. So Stormfly's clearly lost some time, because Stormfly's back in 8th place. And he's that penalty, absolutely, you can see there, the bad exit out of the bus stop chicane, coupled with a penalty, and it's just so difficult to catch back up, because you no longer have the benefit of slipstream, that extra, essentially it gives you extra horsepower, it gives you extra speed. And once you've lost that, it's so difficult to get back in touch. And he hasn't got anyone behind him to bump draft him, to help him up the road. It's going to be so hard to maintain that kind of pace now. So hard. Although, to be fair, Midas has done a 37.5 and that Mercedes out in the lead. So Kevin running in 6th. He's ahead of TJ now. TJ clearly had a bit of a bad run there because he's dropped down. Don't know what happened to him. We'll have a little look and see if he made a mistake. No, Kevin just quicker than him round the bend and makes that move. Makes it relatively easy looking. So Kevin's next target is Demos. Demos in 5th position. Ahead of Demos is Wendigo's on that charge, and he's demonstrating. These guys demonstrating just how quick this Mercedes-Benz is, because it's starting to work its way towards the front. This Mercedes, obviously Midas is already there in that car, but it's just devastatingly fast, and this is the perfect car for this track, because its beauty is its straight line speed and just how much extra it gives you. In fact, we'll have a look. If we stay we'll stay with Demos here, actually, because he's in the car himself, and we'll see what he's expert platform racing to win the car, which is good. Thank you very much, Demos. We'll see now when he gets to the braking zone or crosses the line what kind of speed he's at. So you can see there 180, 181. 182, not topping out either, 183. Just touched on 185 before they hit the braking zone. And what we'll do, we'll look at, next time round, we'll look at Colum and Monkey Man Macho. We've got their own little battle going on there, actually. Monkey Man Macho going for the old switcheroo, makes the move, makes it stick. Great little move there from Monkey Man Macho. Pulls the old switcheroo, lets Colum defend one line, and he goes and takes the other one, gets himself up into 2nd. But the gap now to the leader, Midas, is 12.6. That's right, you heard it here, folks. 12.6 seconds clear, and we're only 10 laps in, 15 minutes into this race, and already he is 12.5 seconds clear at the front. Can Monkey Man Macho lose Colum? Because that's going to be what he'll need to do, because Colum now's tucked in behind. He's going to get that bit of slipstream. We're going to get to see the difference in straight line speed between these cars and the phenomenal Mercedes-Benz. We're going to be looking at the point that they hit the brakes for turn 1. It was 185 for Demos in that Mercedes, and that was without any significant slipstream. Monkey Man Macho with a penalty, so that's not going to be a good representation, because he's going to serve that penalty here. So Colum will be the one, and he'll take that position back. As Wendigo closing in fast. He'll make that move, or will he? Yes, he will. Around the outside he'll go. That's those two into the top 3. And look at the speed. Look at the speed of that CLK. Up it goes. And top end, you can see there, nowhere near that 185 that CLK gets at the end there. So just the pace now, as Wendigo up into 2nd place. He's going to start now to try to make that charge on closing the gap to Midas. So, and there's a mistake there, mistake by Demos. Off the track he goes. He comes back on, but he only comes on behind Stormfly in 8th. So a mistake from Demos there coming out of the first turn, and he's back in 8th place, which is such a good pace in that car, but he's got so much more work to do now. That promotes Kevin up to 5th, TJ up to 6th, Stormfly up to 7th. You can see the gap starting to open up now. Kevin is only a second now behind Monkey Man Macho in that GTR. Now, the question really has got to be, does this GTR in Kevin's hands have the pace to match that CLK? I'm not sure that it does. It's such a phenomenal car, such a quick car, and absolutely suited to racetracks like Daytona. You know, it's going to take a monumental effort for that race car to be able to match the speeds of that AMG Mercedes. But Kevin now 1.3 seconds to Monkey Man Macho. That's his current target. He's 8 tenths behind Colum, so these two have still got a race on. It's not done and dusted yet, although Colum keeping it out of that 1 second range to keep Monkey at bay, really. So the gap was 12 seconds, still 12 seconds, although it does look now that Wendigo is starting to close that gap. His last lap was 1:38.4. Minus his fastest lap was on lap 6, he did a 37.5. He had dipped again into the 37s, but out in the 38.7, 38.7s. This dog is snoring, it's really, really off today. Stop it. Weird. Weirdo. Right, let's have a look at the back of the pack because we've got other drivers out there. Other drivers are available. There is Rocket Rob 2.7 back, he's in that Lexus. He's got Phil just ahead of him. Phil's in the also running that Lexus RCF, which isn't looking to be such a great car around here. Jay in the GTR, he is 13 seconds back from Wiggy. Wiggy's also in that, he's in the GTR, isn't he? GTR or the Audi? Yeah, he's in the GTR in 10th. There's Slipstream also in the GTR back in 9th position. He's 7.5 seconds behind Demos, who's in that CLK. So a lot of work to do because it's going to be really difficult to catch. There's Stormfly. He's in that Audi R8, which has got kind of DRS, for want of a better expression, and he's about to make a move actually here with Slipstream with that DRS in inverted commas, making the move on TJ. Up the inside he goes, and relatively easy in the end. That you can see TJ has to tuck him behind. They're both in the Audi. We just had such a good run on him. He was always going to make that work. Next target, although TJ coming back at him in turn 1, not quite close enough. Well, I thought actually he was going to go up the inside, but he's sticking with him. TJ not giving this up, because TJ knows that third in the championship is at the moment his. But losing out to Stormfly could potentially cost him that third place. He will not want to give that up by any stretch of the imagination. Thank you very much. I thought it was just made some cupcakes. You should into me. I'm going to have to pretend live on air that they taste really nice. What flavour are they? Oh, it's still a bit warm and weird. Oh, the icing was warm. It's not supposed to be. Nice though. Nice and yummy cupcake. Thank you very much. I'll wash it down now. Hang on. Oh, talk amongst yourselves. Yummy. Awesome. Moving swiftly on. Okay. So Stormfly gets the better of TJ up into 6th place. He goes. Next target for him is 2 seconds up the road in that NSX. That's Monkey Man Macho. Couldn't hold off the charge of Kevin. Kevin has now got that GTR 1.1 seconds up the road. His next target is Colum, and here he is, tucking right in behind Colum, ready to make that move. Up the inside he goes. Not very well defended there from Colum again. Kevin really good at defending that inside line, but making him go around the outside, but not Colum. Colum lets him through. Probably wise because Kevin would he likes to get his elbows out when he's in that situation, as a lot of the faster guys do. So he's up into 3rd. Wendigo will absolutely want to stay ahead of him. What ideally he'll want to see someone get past him. Let's face it, if Colum can stick with Kevin through this section, very good chance he can make a move into the bus stop chicane. It's not all plain sailing for Kevin, because although he's got the track advantage over Colum, he's not necessarily got the pace advantage at the moment, because Colum is right there, and with Slipstream he's going to be so much better down the straight. So it's going to be about exit speed for Kevin, but Colum seems to have got a really, really good exit there. We can see there down to the bus stop chicane now. The smart money stays in behind. Is he just going to bump him along, maybe? It looks like actually he's just going to stay there. He's going to bump him along towards that bus stop chicane in the Audi. It looks like the Audi actually is probably the second strongest car here in comparison. And that was a really, really poor entry into the bus stop chicane. That has cost him oodles and oodles of time. And absolutely no hope of sticking with Kevin now. That was your only hope. You've got to stick with him through the braking zones and then get the advantage on the straight. But Kevin just loses him through that braking zone. And off he goes. So Monkey Man Macho is now going to have a great run on him. And they're side by side. This time though, Colum defends that inside line to turn one. Monkey Man Macho just has to slot in behind the Audi and look for a move later on. Does get much better. Oh, a little bit wobbly. Oh, Colum gets wobbly. And to Monkey Man Macho, to prevent himself from crashing into him, just just touches those brakes. You can see here. They come round. And Monkey gets such a better run than Colum. And Colum just a little bit wobbly. Monkey touches him slightly. I mean, it's an unavoidable accident, really, because you can see there that the back end of Colum just stepping out. And that's affected Monkey Man Macho. So he's dropped right off. And actually that's allowed TJ through. That's allowed Stormfry through. So Monkey Man Macho losing out then. But that is a racing incident. And absolutely no penalty to be handed out there for me. Look, I don't know, something might have lagged and it might look different on this screen. But for me, the back end of Colum just stepped out a little bit. He tried to get it back under control. Monkey Man Macho was just so close to behind after getting such a good exit. Just collected the back of Colum. Colum went off into the sunset. Monkey Man Macho went into the wall. So you can see already after a lap, Colum already 3.3 seconds behind Kevin. Kevin's just up the road. There's your leader. The gap down to 9.8 seconds. Wendigo is showing Midas now how to drive this CLK. He says, you might think you were quick, you might have the fastest lap, but watch how I consistently outperform you now and close this gap. And that's exactly what Wendigo's done. The gap is 9.9 seconds. In terms of fuel use, we're past the midway point. So they made it past the halfway point. Can they make it to the end here? I mean, I know they've got to use the medium compound tyres, so there's no benefit to sticking it out there the whole time. Other than the fact if you don't have to fuel, you can get in and out pretty darn quickly. So it may just be a case of they go in a little splashy and then back out again. Because everybody again started on the soft compound tyres, which with the low tyre and fuel wear is absolutely the correct decision. I'm looking to see if anybody. Now Demos, I'll show you what I can see. So you can see Demos there. He's got enough fuel to make it to the end. Now this could potentially, very potentially be a bit of a coup here because he's running in 7th position. It's 4.3 behind TJ right now, but if he doesn't have to fuel when he goes in and puts on those medium compound tyres, he is going to save a whole shit heap of time in the pits. And that potentially could gain him 3 or 4 places if every car, especially if every car ahead, has to put on fuel. That's something worth watching because if that is his game plan, this race is not over for him in the slightest back in 7th. There is potential. Monkey Man Macho, he's there in behind. He's actually closed in on Demos, surprisingly, despite the fact he's in that NSX. Although you can see when they're in a straight line scenario, just closing on that CLK is practically impossible. You can see there, 6-7 mile an hour slower when they get into that braking zone of turn 1, and that makes a massive difference when you've got the straights like you have here at Daytona, or as they would call it in America, straightaways. As they call pit lane. That's a horrible accent. Sorry about that. Wiggy, 18.2 seconds is the gap between him and Monkey Man Macho. A lot of work for him to do. He's got no slipstream to speak of. The only slipstream he can speak of is this one. Slipstream himself. He's 6.6 seconds back again. He's all only on the racetrack. 36 seconds ahead of Jay. Just to put into comparison just how quick the CLK is in the hands of Midas and Wendigo. Jay's in the GTR, which is not a slow car by any stretch of the imagination. He's doing 141.6, 141.7. 141.6 is the fastest lap in that. That's almost 4 seconds slower than the CLK in the hands of Midas with that 137.5. And that was around the same time they did those lap times. Blue flag's coming up for Jay, and I think that will be... Let's fill it back at the pack. It feels like I think that will be Midas coming up behind Jay there. It is indeed. That's Midas. And that is my favourite shot here at Daytona. This is by far the single best camera angle in the whole of GT7, without any doubt at all. We'll see if I can catch it again. We want the shot to come out here, really. Let's not doing it this time. I want to be able to get that camera angle whenever I want it. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm not getting it anymore. Right, so there is Midas. He is still in the lead. He's coming up behind Jay. He's going to be picking up some slipstream, which is going to help him, of course, in that battle of staying away from Wendigo. I mean, look at the difference in pace there. Look at that. CLK versus the GTR. Absolutely breezing past like the car's not even there. It's like there's two different classes of car racing on this racetrack. But this CLK absolutely melting it. But Midas in the lead, 10.8 seconds to this man. Wendigo's in the same car. Now the key is going to be what sort of pace he can put in on the mediums. Can he close the gap on Midas? Because fuel-wise, pretty much using exactly the same. Tyres exactly the same. There's 20 minutes left of this race. Pit window again around lap 20, 21. Colum, he's the best of the rest. He's in the he's in that Audi, running 13 seconds back. Stormfly in the other Audi. They're very similar in terms of colouring. Look at that. I love that little view there. And this is the view from Stormfly's car. He's closed that gap almost to within 1 second. A little bit of a better exit there from the bus stop. He's going to land to get in within that second. And then once he maintains that, if he gets a good run through this section, closes the gap a little bit further, then very much so a good run down out of this section to the bus stop chicane again. He could very well be making that move up into the top three. Demos has worked his way back up into fifth. He's got TJ behind him. That's the gap there. Oh, Demos off the track! Off the track for Demos. What happened to him? Did he just get that whole shades of wrong? It looks like he did. So you can see him coming through here into what's essentially turn 2, turn 3. And he gets that a whole heap of wrong. Very, very whole heap of wrong. And yeah, so there we go. So on board with Stormfly, he's got a good run on Colum. He's going to get nice and close when he gets to the bus stop chicane. He's going to be able to pull out of that bus stop chicane if he gets to run through, of course, and then use that pace to get on the back of the Audi. It's Audi versus Audi. This is down to driver performance, car performance, absolutely identical here. Both cars the same settings, everything, and a great run out there from Stormfly. He's closed that gap down to 3/10. Up ahead, that is a car being lapped. Not sure who that is from here. We'll find out when we get there. But that's definitely a car being lapped, because that's not the car. That's not the Dino's car anyway. But here we go. Colum, it looks like he's going to hold on this time. I think that's Rocket Rob there in the... And it's a great move. Does Stormfly make the move up the inside? It looks like he does. Under braking is really close. He's got the inside line. Side by side, he does back out. Colum holds on. Just holds on. Don't know how he did it, but he did hold on there. And you can see here, this is a great run down. 3 cars abreast into turn 1. The lapped car. Colum holding on round the outside. Stormfly up the inside. Just doesn't get quite the traction out because he's on the inside line coming out. But Colum manages to hold on. But how much longer can he hold on for? This is the battle, of course, for third on the racetrack. It's almost impossible to separate these 2 cars in terms of colouring. Apart from one is Black Flag, the other is Amigos Racing Team. So here we go, another opportunity. Same again, please. Good run down to the bus stop chicane. Good exit. And this time, can he make that move? Does he have the guile? Does he have the ability? Does he have the fuel left to be pushing full on flat out? We're firmly into the pit window now. Who's going to be the first to jump? Are they going to go straight onto the mediums? Are the mediums quick enough to justify staying on for the entire race? I think that's probably going to be the case. I don't think there's going to be any benefit, certainly here, to going in and doing anything else. But didn't get quite a good run that time, and Colum manages to stay ahead of Stormfly at this stage. Kevin back in 6th. He's clearly had a problem, a big problem. 1:55.6 on lap 18. That's a massive problem. Don't know how he did it, how he cocked up, but let's just suffice to say that he did, and it's gone horribly, horribly wrong. Because he did his fastest lap of the race with a 38.6, and then absolutely balls up lap 18. That's put him down in 6th place behind TJ. So Midas Alani, he's opened that gap back up to 11 seconds now. Just absolutely pushing the envelope with this car. Wendigo demonstrating very similar pace, but he's got Jay ahead of him. He's got to try and make that move. Gave Jay a little bump there just to get Jay shifting along, and that of course will give him a little bit more slipstream to help out. Now he's going to pull out. Now he's going to use that slipstream to slingshot him into the bus stop chicane. Jay will tuck in behind, of course, but that's how you need to do it. If you're trying to close a gap on someone, the best thing to do is bump the guy ahead of you. That gives you a little bit more slipstream. That gives him a little bit more pace. And you just try and close that gap a little bit on the car you're chasing down. And I'm surprised we don't see enough of it. You see, but when people are racing in teams, they generally do it. But we haven't seen enough of it here. When at the end of the day, if you're not first, everybody else is your ally until you can challenge the guy for first. So why not the guys in 2nd and 3rd and 4th or wherever they are on the racetrack help each other along to catch the guy ahead and then battle it out for that position between yourselves later. So everybody's staying out thus far. Midas stays out. Wendigo stays out. Colum, is he going to stay out? Yes, he does. So does Stormfly. Stormfly's dropped off that pace a little bit now. Didn't have a great lap at 21. Dropped down to 1:41. 6 seconds back to TJ. As Kevin into the pits after having a terrible lap a couple of laps ago. So TJ up to 5th. And that's him just going around Rocket Road, I think. There is Demos. He's in 6th position, 4.8 seconds behind TJ. He's had a couple of really bad laps where he's just not kept that car on a racetrack. And in terms of pace, it's not too dissimilar to that of Midas and Wendigo in the same car, but consistency not been there in the same way that it has for those two guys. And he's currently on his best possible lap after doing a 38.4 last time out, which is still about a second slower than his compatriot and teammate Midas. Monkey Man Macho, he is running in 7th. He's 14.4 seconds back. We're going to see a lot of people jumping into the pits at the end of this lap, and I think he's going to be one of those drivers. In 8th place, there is Wiggy in that GTR. Slowly moving forward, or as they say, slowly catching Monkey. But his rear view mirror is full of GTR, and that GTR is being driven by the current championship leader, the guy who has everything out there today and wants to make sure that he finishes this race ahead of Wendigo. If it stays as it is right now, Wendigo is going to make a massive chunk of the deficit between these two up in the championship stakes. And that is actually absolutely what I mean. We'd love to see it. We want to see last lap, last race battle for the championship. We don't want it sewn up before the final race. We want everyone to still be in the running, even if it's just those two in the running for the final race. Now, Kevin is fueled to the end of this race, and he will make up some positions, but he's a minute behind Midas at the moment. So TJ into the pits he goes. That's a great run. He's got round the outside of Wiggy on the medium tyres. Does he make that move? Or is he a little bit too wide? He's too wide. Wiggy stays up the inside and stays ahead. This is going to be slowing Kevin down, actually. This is the last thing he wants. So TJ back out, and he's back out ahead of Kevin in 7th. So at the moment, you've got Wiggy, who hasn't pit, separating TJ in 7th and Kevin in 9th. So if the longer Kevin is held behind Wiggy as Midas from the lead jumps into the pits, the harder it's going to be to close up on the back of TJ. Now TJ is right in behind Stormfly. He's been in the pits already. Monkey Man Macho, he hasn't either. He still needs to go in. Now TJ and Stormfly have got Monkey Man Macho just there. He may get some slipstream off the back of one of those medium compound tyres. Be interesting to see actually if they can make some sort of distance. Kevin has made that move around Wiggy, but he's out of slipstream coming into this bus stop chicane. I think his car scraping against the wall there, kicking up the dust. So top 3 of all pit. Midas back out. Little splash of fuel. Probably overfueled that actually, to be fair, to the end of this race. Wendigo, he's back out. He's cut that gap to 9.2 seconds. Can he push this to the end? So here we go. It's 9 seconds and there is 11 minutes left. If he takes a second a lap out of Midas, this could be his race to win. There in 3rd, there's Demos. He still needs to pit from 3rd place. He's still got to put on the medium compound tyres, but could potentially run right to the end, just do 1 lap on those mediums. He might not even have to fuel, you know. So I wouldn't count him out at this stage. Colum is in 4th. He's, of course, running to the end of the race as well. He's on those medium compound tyres to see the race out. So there's Stormfly in 5th. He was just behind Colum. He's lost so much time and massively overfueled this car for the last 10 minutes of this race. You have to wonder if he feels that he needs to have extra fuel there to push. Behind him, there's TJ. He's going to have some slipstream there from Stormfly, and he's giving up some slipstream himself to Kevin. So at the minute, is there a little bit of a slipstream train between TJ? Bear in mind that Stormfly's in that Audi. I say it's Audi, it's the RS5 turbo, but he's also in the Audi as TJ, and then we've got Kevin in that GTR. It'd be good to compare these 2 cars in terms of out-and-out pace. I'll tell you about what I said about livery. Just see that little black flag logo above the HKRT thingy. Racing for grease, of course. I prefer money. Can't do much for grease, it just makes you slippery. 1.7 seconds back to the street. Not seeing much of him in that GTR. He's been running in that sort of midfield area. 13 seconds back to Monkey. Slipstream still needs to go in the pits as well. Monkey, literally, the little splash of fuel, he's gone back out in 9th. There he slipped going in there. Wiggy's been in, he's back out in 10th. Jay's been in, he's in 11th. Phil has been in, he's in 12th. And the Rocket Rob, has Phil used the medium tyre? That's an interesting question. I have to look back through his broadcast and make sure people are using all the tyres they're supposed to be using. Right, so Kevin hasn't been able to make the move there back into the infield on lap 25. This is the second of 3 races in this staying power finale. Race number 1 was at Trial Mountain in the GT3 cars. That was won quite convincingly in the end by Stormfly from Kevin 77 Wendigo, second in the championship, finishing in 4th position. Here we are at Daytona, reverse grid of the previous race. Midas absolutely dominating out in the lead. So far clear, 7.7 seconds. But I said Wendigo needed to do a second a lap. Okay, they came, so lap 23 was the lap they both pitted. 1:44.0 for Wendigo. 1:38.4. Actually, I think Wendigo's going to do his. There we go. So it's a 1:38.4 for Midas and a 1:38.6 for Wendigo. So he's not closing the gap, and he absolutely needs to as the darkness starts to fall here at Daytona. So as it stands, Wendigo's going to make a massive dent into Kevin's lead going into the final race, which will be in the GR1 cars at Le Mans. And who doesn't love a GR1 car around Le Mans for double points to win a championship? Now, I haven't done the sums yet, but I can tell you, if it finishes as it does, Wendigo, I think, is going to be in a really good position to steal the championship last knock-ins. Now, the grid for Le Mans will be reverse championship order. So based on where you are in the championship is based on where you are on the grid. So the further back you are, the further forward you'll be on the grid. It's that simple. It's not a complicated scenario. There's Midas making a move around the outside of Rob. The gap's 7.6 seconds. 14 seconds back from Wendigo. There's Demos. So I told you these three CLKs were going to be out in front, and it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Although Demos still needs to pit to put on medium compound tyres. The fuel might last him, but he's going to need to pit for the medium compound tyres. The only thing that's let this guy down, consistency today. This car has been the dominant car. I think Jay probably should have picked it. I think Jay would have been super quick in this car. There's Colum. He's the best of the rest of the cars. He's in the Audi RS Turbo with the DRS wing. Currently running in fourth. It's 8.8 seconds clear of Stormfly, the winner in the last race. And still, Kevin back in seventh. And he's lost some more. Has he made another mistake this lap? Looks like he has, because I don't know if we can see where he made the mistake. We'll have a little look and see if we can spot anything. It looks to me like we've already missed whatever happened to him. So, well, he crosses the line there. So he did. Yeah, he lost 10 seconds that lap. So actually, this is what happens when you're chasing down a championship. There is the chance of making mistakes, and absolutely you can see the mistakes creeping in here, where he's just giving that extra charge to push, and try and get close, because he knows that Wendigo's closing the gap on him. He's not going to close it significantly. Well, he's going to close it significantly, but he's not going to close it all the way. Kevin is going to go into the final race knowing he needs to beat Wendigo to win the championship, but it's by how much. The closer Wendigo can get to him at the end of this race, the closer Kevin can be to him, and him to still win the championship. And that's what's going to be really interesting. It's 25 points for a win, 22 for second, and then it's 2 points back and two, and then it's one all the way back. But we'll go through exactly what points are on offer. When we start the race at Le Mans, we will know exactly what scenarios we need for a change in the championship. But I think as it stands, your top two are going to be Wendigo and Kevin. Stormfly and TJ are battling out for third in the championship. I think TJ sticking with Stormfly is exactly what he wants. The two, we say Dutch drivers, Stormfly's not even Dutch, he's Hungarian. But he's got a Dutch flag on, so I'm going to call him Dutch anyway. But there is Kevin, 9.8 seconds behind TJ. And I think that's going to be his finishing position. So Wendigo not closing on Midas. He would absolutely, those extra 3 points will make such a difference. But Midas has been so solid out there in the lead, and I can't see that changing over the next couple of laps. We've literally only got 3 laps remaining here at Daytona. Wendigo in second. He's not going to get caught by Demos. He is sandwiched between two Greek drivers. Demos, of course, still needs to pit 4 medium compound tyres. When's he going to do that? Surely he's got to do it this lap, because he hasn't got that. There's not that many laps of fuel left in that car. He's going to have to do it at some stage. And remember, the table, of course, is provisional due to any stewarding inquiries that need to go in. So there is a potential steward inquiry to look at from the race number 1 involving Kevin and Starbuck Wiggy. That's something that potentially needs looking at. There may be 1 or 2 in this race. We've seen some people that have been going off, and there was a couple of little touches. And there is Demos going into the pits. So Colum is going to take a very well-deserved 3rd place there, which, bearing in mind the cars he's up against, is absolutely phenomenal. So there is Colum there in 4th or 3rd now. Through he comes. What about Stormfly? Is Stormfly close enough to steal 4th place? Well, he's through. He's past TJ. Or he's ahead of TJ, should I say. And TJ looks like he's coming through as well. What about Kevin? Is Kevin going to gain an extra place over his compatriot? It does look like it. Because where's Demos? So Demos gone again. Oh no, he's not. He's there. He's in 5th. Ignore me. Absolutely. I thought he disconnected. So he's actually there. He came out in 5th. He just disappeared off out of the pits and onto the road for some strange reason. So he came out between Stormfly and TJ. TJ being 1.8 seconds back. His tyres are up to pace though. Demos's not necessarily so. Did he put enough fuel on board? That's the other question. Because he only put a splash in him. He only needs a splash. But he's in a very, very quick car. And he could still potentially nick 4th place here. Because that car is so quick in a straight line. He's right in behind Stormfly. He's going to be closing. Can he make the move and get this job done? I'm looking at the wrong car. That's the car I want to look at. Let's see what exit he gets out of the bus stop, because this is going to be key. Good exit out of here with the slipstream, and he could find himself back up in the top 4, having had to pit right at the end for medium tyres. And actually, he got an okay exit, but considering the pace of this car, not as good as I think he's going to need to make this move. Bearing in mind, this is the penultimate lap. They crossed the line here. 1 lap remains. So he's only got 1 lap to close that gap. So let's have a full run through before we get to the end. So there is Midas. Led from pretty much the start of this race and thoroughly deserved it, without question. When Digo fought his way, battled his way through the field to up into 2nd. He's 23 seconds clear of Colum in 3rd. And bearing in mind that he's in what some would class as the inferior car compared to the 2 out in front, doing a fabulous job. Stormfly in that same car, holding Demos at bay. How long can he hold him off for? He's got to hold him off essentially for 2 long runs in a straight line. TJ 2.4 back. He's got Kevin 6.6 behind him, unlikely to catch. Slipstream 13.1, 10.1 to Wiggy, 8.5 to Monkey Man, 31 to Jay, 11 to Phil, and Rob is miles behind. There we go, Midas across the line. He actually gets another lap, Midas. How about that? He gets another lap. Wendigo will come through. Wendigo will take 2nd place comfortably there for Wendigo. Colum, he's going to come through and take 3rd position. Eventually, 23 seconds, he'll take 3rd position. Midas, actually, an additional lap for Midas. That's phenomenal. Just goes to show how much pace he had in that car. Personally, he could have just stopped the line, to be fair. So Colum in 3rd, 4th will be Stormfly. Demos is close, but not close enough to make it. Or is he? Is he close enough to make the move? Side by side and across the line. And Demos steals 4th on the line from Stormfly. TJ comes home in 6th. Kevin will come home in 7th. What a finish there. We've got to watch that again. Surely we've got to see that again. That was phenomenal. If I haven't gone too far forward, I know we've already finished. No, phenomenal finish across the line there for Demos. Wiggy will come home in 9th place. What a finish that was. On the line he stole that. 9th for Wiggy. Monkey Man Macho will come home in 10th. Not the usual pace we expect to see from Monkey Man Macho. He's been off the pace a little bit for a while, which is surprising. Jay home in 11th, 12th was Phil, 13th was Rocket Rob. But there is your race winner. 1 full lap clear of everybody else. He'll come across the line after 31 laps, ahead of Wendigo in 1st position. What a fantastic finish from those guys. What a race that was. Huh? With Demos nicking that on the line. But there we go, victory for Midas. So 2 HKRT drivers in the top 4 there. Brilliant finish. So very quick look at the final rundown. Midas in the CLK takes the win from Wendigo, also in the CLK. Colum in the RS5 Turbo was 3rd, with Demos in the CLK in 4th, nicking that from Stormfly on the line. Then Stormfly and TJ both in the RS5 Turbos, coming home in 5th and 6th respectively. Kevin, bad race for him by his standards, 7th in the GTR, with Slipstream 8th, also in the GTR. Also in the GTR was Wiggy in 9th. Monkey Man Macho in the NSX comes in 10th. Jay in the GTR in 11th. Phil in that RCF, and Rocket Rob also in the RCF in 12th and 13th. So not super quick That's RCF. So there we have it. That's race number 2 done. Just got to update now the table's ready for the next race in the series. Just going to leave you for a second while I sort that out and sort out where the table is. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I think what you can do, while you wait for me, go and have a look at the Proper Blokes Club.co.uk, breaking the stigma of men's mental health. Give me a little like on Facebook. Awesome.
It's Friday night, and the drinks are on my mind. The decision sets in, one that will churn your skin. The love is right, let them have their time. And I have this notion, let's keep these wheels in motion. In motion. You thought I did not know. Did you think I would let it go? Oh no. And in time, yes, I'll think it's absurd, but until then you'll leave your words. But lay on. Now it's time to defend your lies, the lies you've been feeding me all this time. And will you reoffend? Oh, darling, you say that you are innocent, but your ways, they seem irrelevant, but still. Play on. Now it's time to defend your lies, the lies you've been feeding me all this time. And will you reoffend? Oh, darling, have you reached your lover's end? No way. Will we make pretend like we something to fight for? Oh. We had nothing to fight for. We had nothing to fight for. We had nothing to fight for. We had nothing to fight for.
I have returned. Took me a little while to sort it all out. It is reverse championship grid. This is where we currently stand in terms of the standings. Let me bring this up for you right now. Actually, I don't need to do that because it's already right there. Boom. I need to move it so you can see it. Hold the line caller. I have to amend this a little bit. Wrong button. It's not doing what I want it to do. Give me a sec. Let me do it away from your eyes. It's easier to sort out then. Yeah, it's certainly hotting up, I can tell you that. Why is it not? Oh, that's why I'm pressing the wrong button. I was pressing the wrong button, that's why I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. There we go, boom Shankar, you ready? Boom. That's how it looks going into the final race. The gap down to just 12 points. Kevin 77 leads from Wendigo. TJ 30 points clear of VR46. Yes, that gap still can close, but significantly harder now. It is double bubble points though. You can see it's all changed. Demos up to 5th place. Sorry, yeah, 5th place with Midas up to 6th after that fantastic win at Daytona. Arminis almost dropping out of the top 10, which you'd expect as he hasn't raced. Wiggy up to 9th. Jay still creeping in at 10th. But I imagine Arminis now will dive out of the top 1. Actually, depending on where Jay finishes, Arminis might stay in the top 10 despite not racing for a few weeks. And that would be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But this is essentially where it's at. There are 50 points available to the winner, and then sort of going down the order. So let's go through exactly what points are available to who. So we go into the final race, and it looks a little bit like this. We'll update it in a sec. All right, so it's 25, 22, 20, 18, then 16, 14, 12. 10, 9, 8, 7, all the way down. Right, but it's double. So everything is doubled. So essentially, Wendigo needs to finish 4 places ahead of Kevin. Because 4 places is essentially 8. Well, it's 2 points for each place essentially if they finish in the top half. But we will see how it works out. Let's get cracking with the race, shall we? And then we'll talk about it as we go through. Because this race is about to begin and it's going to be a doozy of a race. Now, I've already started actually. Apologies for that. Started very quickly. I wasn't expecting it quite as quickly as it was. But there we go. Thanks for that. No warning at all in the chat. But there we go. At least if there was, I didn't see it. So there we have it. Monkey Man Macho out in the lead from Slipstream. Let's have a look at everyone's car. 787 for Monkey Man Macho. Slipstream has gone for... I think he's in the 787 as well, isn't he? He's in the he's in the LM55 VGT. Is it wet? It's not wet. It looked wet, but it's not. There's Cullum in 3rd. Another good position for him. I think what we're going to do, because just to make it easier, things like that, so we can see what he was doing. He's in the Peugeot 908 as Midas streams zooms past him in that 787. Tell you what, Midas has been absolutely phenomenal the last couple of races. Already getting himself up there, a little bit late for Cologne into the first chicane. How did I miss the start of this race? Too busy talking about the bloody the league table. Didn't give me a chance to sort it out, did they? Kevin already up to 4th. Where's Wendigo? Well, as it stands, Wendigo's got some significant work to do. Kevin's there. He's in the R92. That is a super quick car. He's already up to 4th place. Demos in 5th. He's also in that R92. Cologne back to 6th in the 908. Wendigo, he's in that Mazda 787. I think that's going to lose some time to that R92, particularly on the straight. He's got 2-second penalty to serve. Does get past Cologne, but he's going to have 2 seconds. Absolutely brutal here. Absolutely brutal. Wiggy in that R92. Now, I fully expect to see Wiggy there or thereabouts in this race. This is one of his better racetracks. Cologne losing even more time. Back in 8th now. TJ, he's in the R32 as well, running in 9th place. Phil in that GR010 hybrid. That's not super quick around here. I think he's going to find himself losing out to Stormfly, who's behind him in that R92. Rocket Rob already back in 12th in the LM55, and there's Jay in the 919 hybrid, which we are way back down the order. So there we have it. We know what everyone's running. Let's take them off, turn them off completely. Right, so this is where we stand. Didn't have a chance to talk about where we stood in terms of the championship because they started the race too quick. I wasn't expecting it. It was a lot quicker than between races 2 and 3. That's the problem. Right. So I was all aflustered because I wasn't ready for the race to start, in all fairness. So Monkey Man Macho leads the way. And these guys in the older car, I mean, that was abuse of the track limits there, but I think they're going to get away with that. We're doing on board on the next lap, so this is the end of lap 1. So let's go on board actually with Monkey Man Macho as we go through the forward chicane. This is the final chicane. On the power you go, then you're heading up the hill. 1 second penalty picked up there. I don't want to go on board with someone picking up a penalty. I want to see a proper full lap. So slipstream, here we go. Kevin already up to 3rd place in the R92. You flick this round, full power to the right hand side. Heavy on the brakes. Get it turned in, 2nd gear to get that rotation. On the power, as soon as you're straight, you don't want to overcook this and lose your back end. Then you're heading down, round to the right hand side. Again, heavy braking. Get it turned in, 3rd gear. Then you're back on the power again before you head down to, sort of through the Essence, you head down to Mulsanne. You need a little touch of brake just to get it turned in. Don't go too wide. Penalty for both cars there for me. Definitely a penalty for Macho Man. And in the slipstream you go. And I think, oh no, he didn't get away with it. Penalty for him, so off we go to someone else who didn't get a penalty. So this could potentially put Kevin into the lead of this race. The 2 cars ahead, both with penalties. Slipstream here incredibly strong. Top end speed. He's not even in top gear yet. Maxing it out before he even gets to the first of the 2 chicanes. Get that turned in, 2nd gear to get the rotation. On the power again you go before you head down to the 2nd chicane in this Mulsanne straight. And there we go, slipstream making the move on Monkey Man Macho. And here comes Kevin with that superior speed of the Nissan, but also the incredible power of the slipstream here. And breezes past that Mazda like he's also the Jaguar, like he's not even there. Very easily past that Jaguar. Then he's into the slipstream of slipstream as they head down towards the next big braking zone after the Mulsanne. And as you head up the hill here, you're sticking to this right hand side. The road's going to curve to the right, and as you take the turn here, bang, hit the brakes, let the car drift nice and wide, get it turned in, clip the apex, use all the road on the way out, back on that power. And there he is behind Slipstream. Now bear in mind that when they go through Indianapolis, Slipstream, it might have a bit of straight line speed at the moment, but he's going to have to serve a penalty when they come past Indianapolis. So you head up the road here, and this is Indianapolis coming up underneath the Gazoo Racing sign. This is the last real big straight until you get out the other side. Into the braking zone, get down to 2nd gear, get it turned in again. You can probably do that in 3rd, to be fair, depending on the car, of course. Another big braking zone here. It goes round to the right. It's much, much closer. And he's going to breeze into the lead. So Slipstream, oh, nearly loses the back end. I think that might be the saving grace. That is the saving grace for Slipstream, as Kevin just gets a little bit too brave with the loud pedal and almost loses the back end of that very, very powerful Nissan. Now this is where the Nissan is not quite so strong. Through these Porsche curves, you've really got to be careful because it's got so much power at the rear end. So careful through here. You can see Slipstream just gaining all the time through the Porsche curves. So Kevin's good. What Kevin gains on the Mulsanne, he loses through those Porsche curves. But then again, as soon as they get to this section where he can get the power down, heading towards the Ford chicane, and Kevin gets it on board, of course, because the only one in that front that didn't have a penalty. Into the first Ford chicane, into the second, in second gear. Mind that sausage. Sausage not good for you. It gives you stomach cancer. I'm joking. Right, so there we go. That's a lap on board with Kevin. He's already made his way up to second place. So as it stands, the championship leader will be Kevin 77. And there was me thinking, great battle between the two of them, but he absolutely charged his way forward. And yeah, dominant from the outset. Missed the start of the race. I don't know if there were any incidences which need to be looked at. Right, so Slipstream leads the way. 1.5 seconds is his current lead over Kevin 77. He's not giving up any Slipstream, which is always good, but that Nissan is pretty darn quick. Then 4.5 seconds back to Midas already. He's got Wiggy, and I told you Wiggy was going to be strong here. Wiggy already up to 4th, and he's closing very quickly on Midas. And I tell you, Monkey Man Macho losing so much time. He's back in 6th already. And look how much that Nissan is closing on the back of Midas. 0.8 of a second. The gap got down until they got into the braking zone, of course. But this is where the difference will be. You'll see here, he'll close again. He'll get within that 1 second very quickly. He'll pick up the Slipstream, and you'll see this gap coming right down. Oh, it's not coming down. Why is it not coming down? It just seems the Midas seems to have like a little mid-range burst of speed. He is trying to drop Stargroup out of that Slipstream range to try and maintain that position, and that's absolutely what you've got to do. You've got, you know, if you've got the space between you, just moving to one side or the other just makes it so difficult for the guy behind to maintain any decent Slipstream. You don't want them to stay in it. Right, it's not a. It's a 3-minute 30 lap there or thereabouts. So you know we're not going to have huge amounts of laps like we did in the last two. We're looking at something like 15 laps maybe. We're on lap 3 here at Le Mans. Star Group there with a penalty on board. It is Slipstream leading the way at the moment. 1.2 seconds he leads from Kevin 77. And there he is in that Nissan. Midas in 3rd. There's Wiggy in 4th. Midas with a penalty. Wiggy with a penalty. Demos with a penalty. Monkey Man Macho 1.5 seconds of penalty. Half second for Wendigo. Colum back in 8th. Doesn't have a penalty, but he's 11 seconds back already. The gap's already massive. Massive difference between these cars here at Le Mans. In 9th, there's TJ. He is significantly ahead of Stormfly. Where is Stormfly? There's TJ in 9th place. Phil running in 10th. There he is, 7.7 seconds back. 4.9 back to Jay, who's running in 11th. Rocket Rob is in 12th. And Stormfly, oh, he's on the medium tyres actually, Rob. And Stormfly is back in 13th. Now, Stormfly, clearly he started on the mediums because he's now come back out on the softs to finish this race. This to me seems like a very, very, very wise decision because those ahead are going to have to pit. In fact, everybody ahead is going to have to pit. Some are going to have to pit for the softs, some are going to have to pit for the mediums, but everybody is going to have to go in. So that's actually not a stupid decision, actually, and that could very well put Stormfly in and amongst the leaders. He does need to start clearing his traffic as early as possible, though. And that's the first bit of traffic out of the way. That's Rocket Rob dispatched with. So he can start closing the gap. Kevin with the fastest lap with a 3 at 21.2, which he got on that lap 3. He's now closed up to the back of Slipstream to just 0.6 of a second. these two absolutely miles away from Midas. Midas in 3rd position. And they are absolutely miles ahead at the moment. Half a second up. Half a second penalty, sorry, for Midas. That's going to... Why is everyone picking up so many penalties here? You know, it's almost as if, you know, this racetrack is not familiar to you. So, some work to do now for Wiggy. Now, you've got to bear in mind that Wiggy did a 24-hour race here not so long ago. So, this is a very, very strong racetrack for him. So, I'm surprised, actually, he's picking up as many penalties as he is. Unusual, to say the very, very least. But there he is in 4th position right now. That 1 second penalty is not going to land close too much on Midas this time. Trying to see if there's any battles on the racetrack other than the front two. There we've got Phil is on the back of Monkey Man Macho, who's got another penalty in that Jaguar. I mean, it's a weird looking car, the Jaguar anyway, but Phil potentially could take that position, although towards the end of the straight seems to be losing out. So Slipstream is staying ahead of Kevin where it matters. So while the R32 does have great straight line speed, it's not got enough, it seems, to make a move on the on Slipstream when it gets through the corners. He does seem to close the gap, but is he pushing it? Is he pushing too hard? That's the other thing. Because Slipstream's got 3:21.4, Kevin's got 3:21.2 of the fastest lap. But you know, there is that danger of pushing too hard, and it's almost like Kevin wants to kind of finish this with a win to prove a point. I don't think there's any point ever needing to prove. You know, it's obvious just how quick he is. You know, and I've always questioned why he wants to always race with people that can't beat him. He's been beaten up. He's been pushed in this series close. This is probably the closest I've ever seen him be pushed in any series. But you know, you can't watch him racing in like series after series after series of him winning and not question as to why he was so adamant to race with the same people all the time and not give himself a challenge. But you could argue that this actually has been his biggest challenger at Black Flag. That he hasn't had it all his own way. He has been kind of pushed to the limit. But when it came to it, he's come up with the goods. We needed. This is where we needed Wendigo to bring his A game and take it to the wire. But Kevin's just shown such phenomenal pace here, and it's almost world-beating pace to win this series. And let's face it, we're on lap 5, and other than a disconnection or a crash at this stage, it's difficult to ask anyone else to win it than Kevin now. We knew he needed, you know, finishing ahead of Wendigo guaranteed it. Finishing within a couple of places, Wendigo guaranteed it. But he's made sure, and he's off up the road after Slipstream. But can he take a win in this final race just to cement the championship? That there is steward inquiries that need looking at, and I don't know what effect that's going to have on the result, but I can't imagine it's going to have a big enough effect to change the result here, because this is double points. I love the way it says they're racing for Greece, because Greece makes you slippery. Well, there's clearly something wrong there, because initially said his fastest lap was a 1.5. So, Slipstream still leads. He's still 1.1 seconds clear. He's still, for some, able to hold off getting Kevin in that Slipstream, which is absolute paramount to winning this race. We are 15 minutes into this final race. This is the final race of the Staying Power season. This season started way back in February and will culminate in this race here at Le Mans. Midas is in third, 13 seconds back. Demonstrated what crazy pace he's got, what phenomenal pace he's got in that last race at Daytona. Clearly a very, very strong Group 1 driver. And you can see him, he's in that JPS car, which a lot of people remember. Oh, he's going to have those back. Oh, fuck off. That does what fuck me like. It's not like we're actually saying buy cigarettes. Buy cigarettes. They're really cool. They make you look like a legend. That's not what we're saying. Demos is back in. So at the moment, the three Greek drivers in second, third, and fourth. I wonder if they practiced this. I don't know who you are. I was going to say who the hell are you, Spot? I don't know who you are. But yeah, so here we go. So Demos in 4th place. And Spider Team 1 on YouTube. I might do, I might not. 11.6 seconds is the gap. Oh, what's happened there? So Wiggy is separating these two. What's happened there? Demos has made a mistake, clearly, because you can see there that Wiggy now up to 4th. When Dig got to 5th. Was there a problem with the lobby there somewhere? Because it showed me something very different a second ago. It was just like a time warp or something. When people come and leave a lobby, it doesn't help. Anyway, Slipstream leads the way. Kevin's got again within that Slipstream range, but again, very different. He's not making it count when it matters. But so it looks like Slipstream's had a little accident, and that's allowed Kevin to get in, and this could be the beginning of the end for AJ. He has again though. He just seems to have that exit speed through turn 1. Just seems to be so much better coming out of the corners than that is in that Nissan. Is that going to make the difference? Is that going to make it too hard? As Kevin almost losing the back end again, keeps it under control, but very, very wobbly. And actually, that wobble has given Slipstream a massive, massive advantage. So Lives again. Minus in 3rd. That's not the correct route through there. That's going to bring Wiggy a hell of a lot closer. 6.9 seconds the gap, down to 4 seconds, down to 3.7, and he's coming fast. Why are you coming fast? Because he wants to, that's why. 3 seconds the gap down to. I'm going to call it now. Wiggy's going to get in the top 3. He's too quick around here to not. I'm telling you now, he's going to get that Nissan in the top 3. Now, at the moment, I've got to say, he's in the same car as Kevin, and he's done 4 seconds slower in the same car. But he's looked after his fuel a bit better. He's going to have to put less on. I think that's going to make a difference when they do their fuel stops. Wendigo running in 5th. He's closed the gap a bit, but at the end of the day, if he wants to win, if he was where Kevin is now and Kevin was in 5th, it would be close for the championship. In fact, I think it would be even for the championship. And that which Kevin would win, obviously, on races 1. Demos is back in 6th place. He's 2 seconds behind Wendigo. 15.5 to Colum. 5 seconds to TJ. Stormfly already up to 9th. Bear in mind, he doesn't have to pit either. Cars in front of him do. He does not. So, there's a potential top 3 candidate right there. He came in at the end of lap 1, he pit and then straight down there, which I think was probably the smartest thing he has done all day. Or was it lap 2 he came in? Either or, anyway. Jay is still running on the medium size. He started on those mediums. He's still running on those mediums. He's in 11th. I think it might not be a bad idea to get rid of them early. Nice little bump draft there from Phil, sending him zooming down towards the first chicane. That's what you need to do. Work together. Close the gap on those cars ahead. Give a little bumpy to the man ahead and get tucked in their slipstream and off you fuck up the road. 20 seconds back to Rocket Rob. He always looks like that. Still holding it firm out in the lead is Slipstream as they go through the Porsche curves yet again. This time though, Kevin seems first time round through the Porsche curves. He was not necessarily closing. He seems to found a lot more pace through than that, Kevin. But you watch here. We get into the Ford chicanes. Through the first one, all wobbly. Through the second one, and the exit out of here. That's a great exit. This time, Kevin gets a much better exit. It's the first time, actually, he's got a decent exit out of the Porsche curves and been that close to the back of the slipstream. Just hasn't, until now, got a decent catapult out of there. And we can see now he's getting so much closer. If he's this close, going into the Mulsanne this time, I think he could finally take the lead. It's whether he can hold it. That's the question. Because already you can see that through the S's, Slipstream just pulling away a little bit. But here we go, ramping it up into Mulsanne they go. Both on the brakes. Both all right on the line of getting a penalty. I think they've got away with that. But again, initially Slipstream gets the great launch. And you can see the gap opening up. And actually, it's at this point you can start to see as they go through the gears. At this point, you start to see the Nissan, the speed of that Nissan really overcoming. But again, because the early range of Slipstream's car just seems to pull away so much better, even if it is giving up drag to the car behind. See there, look, it's right there in the drag, but just the early range pull away of that car seems to help. But this time, he's reining him in. He's too close there for it not to be able to rein him in. And look at that, getting closer. Is he able to make the move before they get to the end of the chicane? He pulls out up into the inside, under braking. Can he get the job done? He does get the job done. And this is about whether Slipstream can come back at him now, though. So that, and there we go. Look, you see the difference here. Now the opportunity is going to be to retake that position. Kevin's going to defend that inside line for dear life. They are side by side, heading up the hill. And nobody giving an inch, nobody giving a quarter into the braking zone they go. Who's going to be bravest on the brakes? Kevin with the inside line. He's going to hold on, but again, see their Slipstream tucking right in behind. And he's got that initial burst of speed that just serves him well out of the corners. And he's going to be able to get that move. And the thing is, he needs to get the move done before that Nissan gets its kind of mid-range boost that it's got. But so Kevin's just going to hold on in that inside line. Slipstream has taken the lead briefly. They are side by side though, up to every single braking zone. Into Indianapolis they go. This is where we'll see, I think, we'll see the Nissan be able to just pull away a little bit into the braking zone they go. Needs a good exit out of there, Slipstream. Does he get it? He does. He starts to close. But by the time he gets to the back of him, they're going to be into the S's. And it's going to be very difficult in the dirty air to maintain being stuck in behind that Nissan. Can Kevin now pull away? This is what Kevin wanted. He wanted to finish with a bang. He wanted to go out with a bang. And he's told us that he's leaving black flag at the end of this. Be a shame to see him go. But, you know, wherever you end up, I'm sure you will enjoy it very, very much. So there we go, 1.3 seconds. The gap into the Porsche chicane they go. This is lap 7, 25 minutes in, just coming up to the halfway point very shortly. Lap 7, I said 15 laps, didn't I? I'm getting good at this math shit. And he is pulling away, and he's made that move stick now, and managed to drop Slipstream out of that drag range. Definitely something wrong with the log, because he didn't do that in a 151 at all. So there we go. Right. I said Wiggy was going to end up in the top 3. Close that gap to 3.1 seconds. 3:24.8 his fastest lap. Minus 3:24.2. So actually, Minus at the moment a little bit quicker than Wiggy. Nowhere near the pace of those front two, though. That Kevin and Slipstream absolutely dominating out in front. Tell you what I wanted to see, actually. I wanted to look at Stormfly because he pit really early on those medium tyres so he can run to the end on the softs. He's losing so much time to the guys out in front. Top 3 potentially possible. I think the only problem is going to be, of course, is how long everybody else spends in the pits. How much faster are these soft compound tyres compared to the mediums? Are they really that much quicker? Very LGBTQ plus, or whatever it is now. I get confused. I keep adding fucking letters and symbols to it. Soon it'll just be like Prince, just one giant fucking cock or something like that. Which is fine. Kevin, yeah, he's pulling away now. Absolutely pulling away. So, Kevin's going to win this championship, and it's not even going to go down to the wire. Such a shame. Really wanted this race to be a kind of them to duking it out for the title. Didn't happen though. Is what it is. Rocket Rob 30 seconds back. That LM55 looks really, really cool, but it's not super quick. And there comes Jay into the pits. He's getting rid of those medium compound tyres. Could have got rid of them ages ago, to be fair. He's going to stick on the softs and push it to the end. So excuse me. Just in case you're wondering, there is a GT Champions broadcast this evening, but just the one broadcast at the slightly later time of midnight. We're not doing Division 1 at 11 like we usually do, or Division 3 like we usually do. Division 3 is not being broadcast this evening. We're broadcasting a joined Division 1 and 2. The reason we're doing that is because there's some very, very inconsiderate wank puffins who don't think it's necessary to continue racing with all of them just because they're not going to win. To those people I say, don't fucking enter next year. Let's just have 2 divisions of people who give a shit and you lot can go fuck off. And I can say it here because I can't say it on the GT Champions broadcast, so that's why I'm saying it now. Slipstream's clearly made a mistake because the gap is now 16.1 seconds. So Kevin can now relax, safe in the knowledge that he has taken yet another title to add to his collection of winnings. Midas still in third. He's 9 seconds behind Slipstream now. The gap come down because Slipstream's made a mistake. He's just put in a 3:23.7, so still ramping up the pace there. He's going to have to pit in the next couple of laps. We are at the halfway point of the final race of this season. This is a season that started way back in February. A series of 2-hour races. We started in Suzuka. And a series of 2-hour races, one after the other, week after week. Missed a couple, obviously, for things like Fusion, etc. But, yeah, week after week, we've raced for 2 hours at a time. Hard, grueling races. And some of the hardest racetracks on this game. And it takes us to the culmination of today, which is 3 races back to back to back. Trial Mountain in the GR3, followed by Daytona in the GR2. And here we are with the final race, double points, Le Mans in the GR1. And your champion is going to be Kevin 77. The points might change, he's just on a 320 points. So what a phenomenal that. That's with no slipstream as well. I didn't change the this thing, did I? I didn't change it there. I forgot to change this. I do actually have one for this race, which is this one. There we go. I forgot I did one for each race. There we go. Anyway, yeah, so he's 17 seconds clear. He was already 12 points clear at the top of the championship, and he goes into this race and with double bubble, 50 points to add to his tally, and his closest rival Wendigo down in 5th. Despite any penalty, he may pick up 4 Trial Mountain. If and when it's looked at, he's won this championship hands down, and to be fair, thoroughly when you win as many races as that, thoroughly deserved. Slipstream held Kevin off for so long, but couldn't make it last. And then, did he pit? No, he didn't pit. He made a mistake at 3:36.5, so made an error somewhere along the way. Has opened up the gap again to Midas. Wiggy though, not God. He was only 3 seconds behind Midas. Then Midas put in that blistering 3:23, followed by another one, and that's just dropping star group. So actually, maybe he might not make the top 3 as I predicted. Another possibility for top 3 is this guy. He's now up into 8th. He's 1.2 seconds behind TJ. He needs to beat TJ if he wants any hope of getting into the top 3. We'll bring it up there very quickly. He's 30 points behind him. He's going to need to finish way, way ahead of him, even with the double points. He's at least finishing the top 3. But I think TJ's done enough now to finish in 3rd in the championship, despite the best efforts of some drivers that were penalised for last week. It's not naming any names, shall we? So there we go. That's how it looked anyway, going into this final race. So 1.8 seconds to TJ. Can he close that gap down? Bear in mind that TJ does need to pit. Stormfly doesn't. He pit early on, got those medium tyres out of the way. That's when they go in. He'll jump TJ. He'll jump Demos. He might even jump Wendigo. He probably will jump Wendigo actually. Who in that last race at Daytona really brought it and really gave it his all, but just couldn't in this final race here. Couldn't get that momentum. Couldn't get the job done here. And but look, to be fair, thoroughly deserved second in the championship. Has been, you know, you say he's been second best. Being second best in a championship like this is no mean feat. There's some great drivers been in this tournament from beginning to end. Bearing in mind that Wiggy, and let me bring this table back up again very quickly, because I want to talk about Wiggy. So there is Wiggy. He didn't make the first few races because he was in another Super Formula tournament, not even involved in this, and has managed to get himself into that top 10 despite missing half the season. He's actually going to jump up potentially just outside the top 5. So not a bad performance from him at all, really. I think had he been in and amongst it, you double those points, double the races, you double those points. We'll put him on 180, which would put him third. So bearing in mind he's only done half the season, that's really not a bad points haul at all. But 19 seconds to get back to Wendigo. What's the gap out front? 17.2 seconds. So Slipstream's in proper no man's land now. Nobody on the racetrack is racing. Well, look, gaps everywhere. I think the only real gap at the moment is this one here. Stormfly chasing down TJ. Shall we watch this battle ensue as he closes down on him? Been very quiet on the broadcast or something. That's to be fair, because most people that watch on a regular basis are racing. That's the only annoying thing about the Black Flag broadcast is no one bloody watches it, because the people that watch it are racing today. So there we go. The good little run out of there. That Stormfly closing his gap down. Now bear in mind that car in front of TJ, he's got a pit, and Stormfly hasn't. So the more places Stormfly makes before everyone else pits, the closer he's going to be to that front 3. I still think a top 3 is potentially on the cards here. It's the pace of Midas that is the unknown anomaly in this, because Kevin and Slipstream disappeared off. Well, Kevin especially disappeared off up the road. Slipstream disappeared off with them. Them two fucked off and they did their own thing for the first 7-8 laps. Since then, Kevin kept on the pressure. Little bit of found his line, found his pace, took the lead of this race, and hasn't really looked back. He certainly hasn't been looking in his mirrors since then. That's the best ever sector time thus far for Stormfly. Is he going to be able to close now as we move into it's essentially the slower part of this racetrack, the more technical part of this racetrack. And he overshoots the braking zone quite significantly. That's going to give a massive respite to TJ. I'd like to say it's commentator's curse, but it's not. It's having a foresight to know you're going to crash. Good evening, Bandits. How are you? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. You join us at a very pivotal time. Stormfly just binned it when he was 1.5 seconds behind DJ. Right, so slip into the pits. Here goes. He's going to change that, put on those medium compound tyres. Kevin's going one more lap. He's 20 seconds clear. No doubt he's winning this championship unless something dodgy happens with his internet, or war is declared between now and the end of this race. War is declared. I mean, specifically a war between Greece and somewhere else. So unless war is declared or he crashes between now and lap 15, he's won this tournament hands down. Absolutely hands down. Let's do that. BFeR, he has to go because war is declared. We've just seen what happened. You saw him crashing. Yeah. So Wiggy now up into second. He does still need to pit, of course. Slipstream out of the pits in third. Stays ahead of Demos. Demos needs to pit. He'll come in at the end of this lap. Midas, he's been in. That's where he will stay. He'll move back up into the top 3, I would imagine, when Wiggy and Demos go in. Wendigo, he's got a pit. He's staying out for one more lap. Yes, he is. This is the guy to watch, though. Yes, he binned it. Yes, he lost a bit of time on the last lap. But he pit on lap 2. So he goes to the end of this race. And there are 3 cars ahead of him. That's still, or 4 if you count Kevin. Let's not count Kevin. There's 3 cars ahead of him that are not Kevin. that give him that have still got going. So he's got the opportunity to pass them without actually having to pass them. One of those is here. That's Wendigo. Midas is going to have to catch him on the racetrack. That I said was the unknown entity. Now, if you think that he lost about 4 or 5 seconds when he overshot at the end of the Mulsanne Straight. He's still much further behind Midas. So actually, we weren't sure where he would pop out or where Midas would pop out in relation to Stormfly after the pit window. But that's answered the question, because even with those 5 seconds, he would still be some way behind him. So although we're into top 4, maybe top 5, maybe top 4. What we've got to work out now is whether Wiggy is catchable. 45 seconds behind Kevin, who does also need to pit, but for whatever difference that's going to make, absolutely none, I would have thought. Be interesting to see. Interesting. As Wiggy does put in a 3:23 now. Saying that, Kevin's fastest lap was a 3:20.7. So in he comes. Wiggy, I imagine, in about 20 million quarters time will be coming in. We know that Kevin's going to come back out of the lead. There's no question about that. The question really is going to be, does Wiggy come out ahead or behind Stormfly? You know, all of these others, they're all going to go in. So what Wiggy now is going through the Porsche curves before he picks. This is lap 11 of what I think will be 14-15 laps, depending on the cars. It's the final race, of course, of the Staying Power Endurance Series. Let's find out what that shit. And you see down there, we're supporting the Proper Blokes Club. Very, very worthy charity here in the UK. Currently, but essentially, it tells you the way it works is basically the guy that set it up, Scott, during lockdown started going walking and just putting up YouTube videos and talking about the shit. Well, actually, Facebook videos and talking about the shit that was bothering him while walking around different parts of the sites of London. And then he kind of put a shout out there when groups could start going out together during lockdown. He put a shout out there so he was to come do this walk thing with me. And once a week he did this little mental health kind of thing and give men a chance to kind of, break the stigma of mental health issues and have somewhere where they could go and talk and let it out and have a little bit of a walk around at the same time. Anyway, over the coming months, more and more, he sprung more and more groups in different areas all around. We're going to areas where either he lived or he was associated with. And then there's loads all over London now, all over the place. So every night of the week, different sort of evenings and stuff. And he's got stages, won some awards now, and he's won some awards. He was on BBC during the week where they put him up for an award as well. We've been nominated for an award, and so we're showing some support to Scott by advertising Proper Blokes. And let's face it, most of us are blokes, and we don't talk about the shit that goes on in our heads. And it's you've got to remember that suicide is the single biggest killer of men under 50 in the world. It's not poverty, it's not cancer, it's nothing. Murder, nothing. The single biggest killer of men under the age of 50 is suicide, because we're dickheads and we don't talk. So talk, do it, whatever. If you've got a problem, say something. And Scott from the Proper Blokes Club is helping us do that. Anyway, yes, I am streaming GTC Bandit. I'm streaming Divisions 1 and 2, which is starting at the later time of midnight. Later time for Division 1, an hour earlier for Division 2, of course, but it's a big fuck you to all the wankers who don't bother fucking turning up to the races and ruining it for everybody else, because it's going to be a really, really odd race to try and broadcast, because essentially we've got 2 different championships going on the same racetrack, which is going to be quite hard to keep up with. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So Wiggy's still not pit. Kevin, 13 seconds up the road, he has been in. His fastest lap was a 3:20.7. Slipstream 13 seconds back. He should regain second place when Wiggy goes into the pits. Demos, he hasn't pit either. So Midas should regain. In fact, the Midas is going to regain. He's going to take 4th place before Demos even goes in, and then should regain 3rd place when the pit stops sort themselves out. The question is whether Stormfly comes out. I think he will be ahead of Demos. by the time they all go in. Will he be ahead of Wiggy is the big question. Certainly possible. He's the time between him and Kevin now down to 55 seconds. If you consider that Stargroup and Demos still have to pit, I think there's a very distinct possibility that fourth is well on the cards here for Stormfly. Fastest lap for him was a 3:23. So it's I mean, how much has Kevin been practicing this track to be 3 seconds quicker than Stormfly? You know, we're not talking about, you know, Kevin being 3 seconds quicker than me or Jay or Grizz. No offense to you guys. That's not an anomaly. That's not something you think, oh, that's fucking weird. But for him to be 3 seconds a lap quicker than anybody else, you have to think, what the fuck is he doing differently? Has he been sandbagging this whole time just to, I don't know, maybe. But there we have it. So Wiggy's in, Demos is in. Where is Stormfly in relation to those guys? So he's coming round now. We know he doesn't need to pit. Into the Ford chicane he goes. That's number 1, chicane. Number 2, chicane. Is he through or back out? There's Wiggy. Well, Wiggy's back out, so Wiggy does retain 4th. Stormfly does get ahead of Demos though. Demos only just coming into the pit, so he didn't get ahead of Wiggy, but he did get himself into the top 5. I did say it was doubtful for Wiggy, but certainly good for beating Demos. So Kevin leaves 27 seconds from Slipstream. We've got just 8 minutes. 8 juicy minutes left of this race. Slipstream in second, Midas in third. Fourth is Wiggy in good form as well for him to drag off this race. Now, it's only 3 seconds to Midas. I still think he's going to catch him. Genuinely, I said it from the outset that I thought he was going to be top 3. I'm still sticking to that, and there's enough time to do it. If he can get a couple of seconds a lap, and he's got him easily. Stormfly in 5th. He's not going to catch Wiggy, not around here. He's not going to get caught by Demos either. Even if Demos was the fastest man on the planet, I don't think he's catching him 13 seconds. 10 seconds back to Wendigo. Valiant effort this entire tournament. He's going to come in overall second, which is thoroughly deserved. TJ is going to take. Is he going to take third in the championship? I'm not sure, you know, because I want to bring this back up again now because I'm not sure. He's actually, I think he's all right. He's 30 seconds clear of. I think he's all right. He's 30 seconds clear of Stormfly. So I think he's just about going to hold on for third. Colum, good race from him. He's in 3.8 seconds back, 3.5 seconds back. Interesting line through there. Monkey Man Macho, he's not been in a race today. This guy is usually there or thereabouts, but today, not so much so. Jay is running in 11th. He's 38 seconds ahead of Phil, and he's 42 seconds ahead of Eeyore. He always looks like that. Right, the only real thing on the racetrack is the Wiggy chase down of Midas. So let's watch that, shall we? His gap staying at 3 seconds. Certainly looks that way. He's on his outlap, of course, as is Midas ahead of him. No, he's not. I lied. Midas is not on his outlap. It's Demos on his outlap. So Wiggy has got essentially 6 minutes in which to find 3 seconds. At the end of this lap, we'll see what their representative lap times were as they head down towards the Ford chicane for probably the second to last time. So Midas goes through. His lap time, that last lap, was 26.4. Wiggy, a 38.4. Oh, it's his outlap, that's why. It's his outlap, that's why. Doesn't make sense. He's got that down to 2.1 seconds. So this will be interesting. It's properly a chase down now. How close can he get before they get to Mulsanne? And when they get to Monster, does he have that pace to close that gap on Midas and get himself a nice top 3 finish? I genuinely think he's going to get it. I think he's going to get it. I thought he would from the outset. He's very, very strong around here. No doubt in my mind that he's going to nab himself third, because that gap is closing and closing fast. So let's do this. Where is it? Which thing is that one? I have to do it with the keypad for one. It's that one, where you sit next to him. This is the view from his car heading down towards the chicane. That's Stallfly. One person. That's the person the car wanted to be in. I was wondering why it looked like a different part of the racetrack. 1.7 seconds, 1.8 seconds. You can see on the straight without slipstream, the Midas able just to kind of open up the gap a little bit. But you'll see now when they go into the corners, that's where Wiggy starts to make up the time in the braking zones. He'll make up a bit of time there, and then you'll see it go open up and then close again. I think once we get around the other side of the racetrack, I think you'll see it close, particularly when we get into sort of Indianapolis onwards, really. So Indianapolis through Porsche down to the Ford chicane and then through the S's. That's where he's strongest, particularly because of the straight line speed. Through here now, get on that power nice and early. But again, Midas is just doing enough at the moment to stay clear. Is he going to call my bluff and prove me wrong and say that Wiggy is not fucking catching me after that phenomenal race I had at Daytona? Which basically just says to me that Midas is very, very good when it comes to straight line races. I'm joking, of course. Here we go. So into Indianapolis we go. Are we going to see Wiggy now close up this gap? Or has Midas just found that extra little bit of pace? I mean, he's so strong coming out there though. No, that is a massive, massive gain. Down to 1.3 seconds as he gets out of there. This could be the chase down we were looking for. But again, just once the so through the Porsche curves, where that if he's within 1 second once we get across the start finish line, or at least close to it, it really could be an interesting final lap of this race. And it will be the final lap of this race if they make it that far, of course. I think we'll go back out to this view. This is the view everyone's been waiting for. Actually, I'll show you this one's the one I want to show this final chase down. Someone sung that once and got copyright infringed. So that is a great exit out of there, and this could be sayonara, Midas. It could be, it might not be. Midas is no mean feat to overtake. He knows his racing, he knows his racecraft. But I think when you're competing with Wiggy on one of his best racetracks, you've got to have more than just your wits about you. So we'll see through the S's here. We will see Midas gain a little bit of time, but a little dab of brake there to keep the car straight. Demos has disconnected yet again. That connection in Greece showing to be very, very stable, as we've always been told. A little bit of lag there on Midas. Midas is getting some slipstream from a back marker, which is really, really helping out. Is he going to get out of the way? And there goes Wiggy. He's coming through. And closing. He's going to get a much better opportunity, of course, after the chicane. That's if he's got the fuel to make it to the end, because these guys are going to be absolutely pushing. Great run through there. Did he go a little bit too wide? Here we go again. Down the Mulsanne. Yet again they go. And it's Midas just keeping ahead of Wiggy. Just managing. I don't know how he's doing it, because Wiggy really, really closing down on him. But for some strange reason, he's able just to keep the distance. It's almost like he's got like an ERS button that you can spam to keep him away. Here we go again. This is one of the last opportunities Wiggy's going to have with Slipstream to get this move done. So Colum finished in 8th. There'll be Monkey Macho Man coming home in 9th. We'll go back to that battle in a minute. We'll just watch these guys finish this race, of course. Monkey Macho Man will finish in 9th. There he goes across the line. Jay will be 10th. Phil will be 11th. And this is their final lap. So here we go. Much, much closer this time. And here is this last ditch opportunity, and he's just not quite close enough to make it count. Hasn't been able to do it the whole time. It's not fair, man. It's not fair. I'm sure he's screaming. Tell you what's not fair. 30 seconds clear. 3 seconds faster than anybody else on the racetrack. It is just absolutely ridiculous. Why is this guy not racing World Tour level on a regular basis with that kind of pace? But he'll cross the line and he'll take the win and take the championship, despite what penalties come his way for the shenanigans in race number 1 this evening. But congratulations, Kevin. You are the Staying Power Season 1 champion. And your trophy will be winging its way to you shortly, I would have thought. And here comes Slipstream. He's going to come home in second place, 31 seconds back. But this is the battle raging on for. Switching across the line quickly, and then we'll watch the battle raging for third. Here he goes across the line. Job done. So it is Wiggy and Midas coming into the Porsche chicane. Can Wiggy find a way through on the Porsche chicane? Can he nick it on the line, or has Midas got just enough to hold him at bay? They both come through. Midas, I think, is just going to edge it. Midas in third, Wiggy in fourth. Stormfly was closing down. Great strategy from him to bit early on those mediums. That brings him home in fifth. Wendigo, valiant effort today to take the charge to Kevin, but comes home in sixth. I bet when he saw Kevin wasn't there in race number 1, and wasn't there to quite. And I've got to say, I think it was a genuine ploy by Kevin. Do I think he was genuinely late? No, I think it was planned. Absolutely think it was planned. Like some kind of, look, Kevin's not going to be, oh look, here he is, way kind of thing. There we go, here's what it is. He still won it anyway. Wendigo comes home in sixth. And TJ, this is TJ's brainchild, to be fair. For me, though, I don't think 2 hours constitutes an endurance race anymore. I think we're looking at sort of 3-4 hour stints now for endurance racing. So I think when we do Staying Power again, it's going to be much, much bigger. There we go. Done. Just finished. So there we have it. Let's have a full classified rundown, shall we? So Kevin 77 in the R92 Nissan wins at Le Mans and wins the championship overall. Slipstream in second, 787 with Midas third. Wiggy finishes in fourth. He gets a penalty. He obviously didn't run the correct tyre. No, he would have picked up a penalty at the end. Somewhere, half a second penalty somewhere, turned into a minute. Stormfly comes home in fifth. Wendigo in sixth. TJ in seventh. Eighth was Colum. Ninth was Monkey Man Macho in the XJR. Funny looking thing, but quick in a straight line. 919 Hybrid for J. In 10th place, Phil in the GR010 Hybrid in 11th. Rocket Rob in the LM55 in 12th. And another DNF for Demos in 13th. Let's screenshot that. Tell you what we can do. I'm going to update this immediately. Talk amongst yourselves. Right, table updated. So I need to get this into the broadcast, don't I? So bear with me. Let's bring that up for the time being while I sort this out. So I'm just going to do the top 10 at this stage. The full table will be available on SLP, of course, but I'm just going to put up the top 10 right now for everybody to see. And actually, the slipstream, I'm going to do the top 11 because slipstream's position busted him up. Actually, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stick with the top 10. Slipstream is just outside the top 10. So tough titty, my friend. Tough titty. Right. It's just going to take me a minute to get this out and get this prepared. Nearly there. I need some sort of program that can kind of just lift it and put it in for me. I'm sure there's probably something out there. Just need to find it. Talking about yourselves for a minute while I sort this out, but coming up in about an hour and a half will be GT Champions, and it'll be live from round 8 from about 12:30. Right, so I'm just going to save this, and it should automatically be in the correct place, shouldn't it? So top 10 there, boom shanker, save. So here we go. This is the final standings after essentially 13 rounds of racing. Boom! Kevin 77 wins, 278 points. This is obviously pending any penalties across the field there. When Digo takes the runner-up spot, 242. TJ with 188 points takes third place. VR46 does close the gap to 166, but not enough to take the third step of the podium. Midas creeps in there into 5th, 146. Just 20 points back. Star Groot on 126. Demos with 108. GMAX stays in that top 10 on 94 points, as does Arminis on 92. And Jay holds on in that top 10 with 86 points. So just 2 in GMAC and Arminis that didn't race the whole season, holding on in the top 10. Tom, if you look on the Discord, you will see why I'd rather not talk about it on the broadcast. Yeah, have a look on the Discord and then you will see why. There we go, there we have it. So that's the entire order sorted. This is the competition done. And congratulations to Kevin on his very, very well-deserved win in this hard fought championship. Staying power. Break next week. We've got GTFusion the week after that. And then we've got the Ultimate Endurance coming up the following week on Saturday before we move into our anniversary celebrations of Black Flag bullshit. But we're done. All that's left to say is thank you for joining me. I've been Adam Pirate. This has been Black Flag Racing TV, and we'll be back in about an hour and a half with the GT Champions World Championship round number 8.